Men are scolded by their wives just because they make too little money. The wife felt that she couldn't live a good life with a man's dead salary of 2 or 3,000 yuan a month. But men feel that they are not good-looking compared to anyone, and they are not enough to compare with the bottom. But his wife just hated him for saying that he was more than enough. The eyes are always looking down, always comparing with the poor. There is no courage to compete at all, and there is no courage to even give it a try. The wife said, "Song Jianping, you can live like this." Is it the dissatisfaction of women, or the lack of motivation of men? These two people, Song Jianping is a surgeon in a state-run hospital, with superb medical skills and a low-key person, but his income is not too high. And Lin Xiaofeng is a primary school teacher, and in the past few years, such family conditions have exceeded most families. But Lin Xiaofeng was not satisfied. She wanted a big house and wanted her children to go to a better school. But as a primary school teacher, her income is basically fixed, so she can only work her husband. For this reason, Lin Xiaofeng made an appointment for a dinner. She wanted Song Jianping to change jobs to a joint venture hospital, and told him to come. But the sky did not come true, and on this day, Song Jianping's hair was in a car accident, and Fa Xiao called him for help. Song Jianping could only put down everything and rush to save people, and the dinner was naturally delayed. But this made Lin Xiaofeng very angry, feeling that this was another excuse for him to shirk. The next day, Xiaofeng went to the cafeteria to eat and met the old director of the hospital, who was also Song Jianping's teacher. So the two exchanged a few pleasantries. But next, the old dean was a duck stand because of a one-piece 5-piece duck rack. After arguing with the waiter and being scolded by the waiter, the old dean was furious and fainted. By the time the ambulance arrived, the person was gone. The old dean has been in a state-run hospital all his life, but because of a 5-piece duck frame, he has fallen to this point. This made Lin Xiaofeng more aware of the importance of money and more worried about the future of his own Lao Song. So after arriving home, Lin Xiaofeng, when he saw his husband who was content with the status quo, was even more angry, and scolded him for not wanting to make progress. There is no future, no light, and no hope for working in that hospital. But Lao Song also has his own ideas. He stays in a state-run hospital with a reputation. But the wife thinks that the reputation is good and useless, and the current market is money. Song Jianping has a good temper. I didn't want to quarrel with my wife, so I wanted to leave, but after thinking about it, I turned around and comforted him. "Why is your liver so hot lately? Why don't I mix some Chinese medicine for you?" After 7 years of marriage, the original love between the two has long been erased by firewood, rice, oil, and salt. Instead, they are more like partners in life. In the evening, Lao Song wanted to ease the relationship between husband and wife, but no matter how he coaxed, Xiaofeng just couldn't be fooled. As a doctor, Song Jianping had to be cheeky and wanted to be intimate with her, but Xiaofeng said that he would not cooperate with anything. Instead, she chattered like an old resentful woman and said, "I just don't want to be so plain for a lifetime." These words made Lao Song lose interest instantly. If it were you, how long would this married life last? The woman found during the class reunion that her former first love was too lazy to look at her throughout the whole process, but instead hugged a fat woman with big ears and scratched her head. This made her, who used to be a schoolflower, very unwilling. However, this is not the end. I learned from my classmates that my former first love has now become a successful entrepreneur, and the fat woman with big ears is a leader's wife with a strong background. The so-called class reunion is nothing more than a special group of first love to curry favor with the top management. She only heard the two of them talking affectionately. This made Lin Xiaofeng deeply shocked, and left in a hurry without waiting for the party to end. The huge psychological gap made Lin Xiaofeng unacceptable. When I got home, I started to count my unmotivated husband. Once my first love, I now have a car, a house, and a career, and my children are in an aristocratic school. Her husband earns a dead salary of several thousand yuan a month, can't afford a piano of tens of thousands of yuan, and can't afford to take tutoring classes for a few hundred yuan a class. Lin Xiaofeng said, "He is really a waste." Song Jianping was stunned by his wife's nameless fire. But Song Jianping is not a gas bag. Lin Xiaofeng said, "There is a house and a car, and a successful career, especially their family is relatively happy." Lin Xiaofeng scolded angrily, "Song Jianping, you are not a thing." Song Jianping was not convinced. He said, "I am a human being, a mediocre person." Song Jianping's words deeply stimulated Lin Xiaofeng's sensitive nerves, and she stared at Song Jianping viciously, as if she wanted to swallow him alive. Looking at his wife's hysterical appearance, Song Jianping didn't want to quarrel with her, he just wanted to go back to the room to hide. But the wife was reluctant. Unexpectedly, this closure happened unexpectedly. The wife's hand was caught by the door, and she let out a scream instantly. Song Jianping hurriedly took her to the hospital. In the afternoon, the brother-in-law saw his sister's injured hand and asked if his brother-in-law had done it with her. But Xiaofeng said, "Don't be that cowardly man in front of me." The next day, the family sent his brother-in-law back to the army, and before leaving, he called Song Jianping aside. The brother-in-law said, "Sister, only this time. If there is a second time, I will never forgive." Song Jianping said aggrievedly, "I didn't mean to." The brother-in-law said, "I know you didn't mean to. If you did it on purpose, I won't talk to you here." The threat of his brother-in-law made Song Jianping very unhappy. After sending his brother-in-law away, Song Jianping began to scold his wife and said, "The ugliness of the family should not be publicized. You not only speak ill of me outside, but also let your brother threaten me. Humph, I will never forgive. Who forgives whom? Do you need him to forgive me?" "Just kidding, a warrior. You dare to be powerful at me, bullying the weak and fearing the hard." The two did not speculate, and Lin Xiaofeng went back to his parents' house in a fit of anger. She scolded Song Jianping to her parents, saying, "The child is about to go to elementary school and needs money. The family also needs money to change the school district house, but the old Song at home is content with the status quo with a salary of thousands of yuan and has no enterprising spirit." She just had to wait for Song Jianping to apologize to herself and take the initiative to pick her up. As everyone knows, Lin Xiaofeng is digging her own grave. What she did is slowly pushing Song Jianping into the arms of others. On the other side, Song Jianping received a call from the leader asking him to perform an operation temporarily. In order not to leave his 6-year-old son at home alone, he had to ask his neighbor Xiaoli to help take care of him. Soon the operation was completed. The leader took out a benefit fee of 5,000 yuan and wanted to take a formality. But he never expected that Song Jianping was a straight man and accepted all the money without saying a word, which made the leader very angry. After arriving home, Song Jianping saw it. Xiaoli had already put the child to sleep, and she felt very comfortable in an instant. Looking at the gentle woman in front of him, Song Jianping was in a trance for a while. Song Jianping thought to himself, "Xiaoli is so good. How nice it would be if his wife was as gentle and considerate as Xiaoli." In the blink of an eye, Lin Xiaofeng had been in her parents' house for 2 days, but she did not wait for Song Jianping's apology. His parents knew that their husband and wife were awkward, but it was not a way to continue the Cold War, so they drove Xiaofeng home. But Lin Xiaofeng, after arriving home, still didn't give Song Jianping a good face. Thinking of the success of her first love, how she looked at the husband in front of her. However, waves of unrest arose, and Song Jianping, who inadvertently offended the leader, was soon put on small shoes. My opportunity to go abroad for exchange was replaced by others. Not only that, this person is not as good as himself in terms of experience and medical skills. This made Song Jianping very unhappy, and he was ready to change jobs in an instant. After arriving home, the depressed Song Jianping followed. The wife vented her dissatisfaction. But Lin Xiaofeng did not comfort her lost husband, but mocked, "Otherwise, I said that your unit is not strong, and you don't do anything based on your ability, and many talented people have to be buried in this environment. Just follow your ideas and mix in society. Pull you down." The more Song Jianping thought about it, the more angry he became, and then rummaged through the contact information of the joint venture hospital. He decided to quit his job and went to a joint venture hospital. When Lin Xiaofeng heard this, he jumped up instantly and hugged her husband excitedly. In her opinion, the husband is finally enlightened, and it is important to be able to earn more money. Soon a foreign-funded hospital contacted Song Jianping and offered him a monthly salary of 10,000 yuan. This made Lin Xiaofeng very happy. Lin Xiaofeng said, "Gold will always shine, and if you look at it, you will have today." When the leader learned that Song Jianping was going to resign, he panicked instantly. Song Jianping's medical skills are a famous knife in the city. So he came to apologize to Song Jianping with a shy face and returned the opportunity to exchange abroad to him. Leadership of this operation of cherishing talent, Song Jianping was shaken again. When he got home, he told his wife that he had decided to stay in the state-run hospital. But as soon as the words fell, Lin Xiaofeng's face had changed, and he returned to the bedroom angrily without eating. She emphasized the importance of making money to Song Jianping over and over again. Lin Xiaofeng said, "If you don't go to the joint venture hospital, you can't make so much money, and the child will go to elementary school soon, and you will have to pay 40,000 yuan at once." But Song Jianping thought that there was no need to pay so much money to go to an aristocratic school and said, "Primary school is nothing more than addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division. It's good to find a school close to home." But Lin Xiaofeng disagreed with his view and said, she didn't want her children to lose at the starting line, and if they couldn't go to a good primary school, they wouldn't be able to go to a good middle school. If you can't go to a good middle school, you can't go to a good university. I can't go to a good university. The child's life is over. The two disagreed and quarreled again. Lin Xiaofeng felt that her husband was ambitious and unambitious, and she was really fed up. Lin Xiaofeng said, "It's really strange how I fell in love with you in the first place. Song Jianping said, regret it. It's okay to regret it, come on. Are you frigid? Lin Xiaofeng said, you said that you have to come so many times a month, the same, what's the point? I really don't think it's interesting. But if you need it, I don't care, I'll just go to sleep when I'm done. What are you doing, aren't you coming? Get out. Let's go. The wife's perfunctory attitude instantly made Song Jianping lose interest. Like many people, after 7 years of marriage, the two have long lost their original enthusiasm, and their relationship is maintained by their children. And this cold violence of his wife made Song Jianping very desperate for his married life. The next day, he made an appointment with a few friends, told him about the distress in his heart, used alcohol to numb himself, and drank too much before he knew it. When I got home, I got drunk and fell on the side of the road. Lin Xiaofeng did not wait for her husband to come home, but still did not make a phone call, and fell asleep with peace of mind. Fortunately, neighbor Xiaoli passed by after get off work and found the drunk Lao Song, so she took him into the car. Hey! Lao Song sighed, and then talked to Xiaoli about the misfortune of his marriage. His wife's attitude towards herself made Lao Song doubt himself. Song Jianping said, from the eyes of you women, who am I? Xiaoli said, I think you are a good person, a good man. Song Jianping said, there are two types of good people, one is good character, and the other is incompetent and useless. And in the eyes of his wife, he belongs to the latter. The same person. In the eyes of two women, why is the gap so big? Maybe it's because the husband and wife are too close together and can only see each other's shortcomings. After arriving home, Lin Xiaofeng still ignored Lao Song, and did not even have normal inquiries and concerns between husband and wife. This made Lao Song very chilled. Looking at his wife who went to sleep by herself, Lao Song really couldn't accept her cold violence. After hesitating again and again, he still spoke, Xiao Feng, I want to ask, do you still love me? Lin Xiaofeng said, at this age, what else do you love or not, live your life. Song Jianping said, so, you just don't love it, right? Lin Xiaofeng said, hurry up and wash it. The wife's indifferent answer was like a thorn, piercing into Lao Song's heart. This kept Lao Song awake at night. But Xiao Feng never thought about what kind of harm her casual answer would bring to her husband. Song Jianping tossed and turned, how he hoped that his wife's words just now were all lying to him. With the last trace of fantasy about his wife, Lao Song still wanted to give it a try. Song Jianping said, Xiao Feng. Song Jianping said, do you love me? Do you still love me? Lin Xiaofeng said, oh, I have to go to work tomorrow, don't make trouble. Song Jianping said, no. You have to give me a positive answer, love me or not. Tell me. Lin Xiaofeng said, oh, what are you doing? Song Jianping said, do you love me or not? Lin Xiaofeng said, are you sick? Song Jianping said, what is sick? Tell me if you love me or not. Lin Xiaofeng said, no. Song Jianping said, no. What are you doing, you? Lin Xiaofeng said, let me tell you, I hate you. Hate. Get it? I tell you, I hate you. Hate. Get it? Lin Xiaofeng's answer was like a basin of cold water, which severely extinguished Song Jianping's enthusiasm. But as everyone knows, Lin Xiaofeng's ruthlessness is pushing her husband further and further. Neighbor Xiaoli, fair-skinned and beautiful with long legs, divorced and single with a daughter. More importantly, she works in the same hospital as Lao Song. Whether it is appearance or temperament, compared with Lin Xiaofeng, there are pictures and truths, please comment on yourself. Children from both families go to the same kindergarten, so we will meet often when picking up children. Xiaoli, who has been single for a long time, is really depressed, and in her eyes, Lao Song is a good man worthy of trust. On this day, Lin Xiaofeng called Lao Song and asked him to accompany him to see his parents' performance. But as soon as the two had a conflict, Lao Song replied angrily, no time. But as soon as she hung up the phone, Xiaoli found Lao Song. It turned out that she had a paper and wanted Song Jianping, who was more senior, to help revise it. Looking at the gentle and beautiful woman in front of him, Song Jianping agreed without saying a word. In the evening, Lao Song showed Xiaoli the revised paper, which doubled Xiaoli's favor for him. At the same time, Lin Xiaofeng was watching the performance alone with his son. In order to thank Lao Song for his help, Xiaoli cooked a table of good dishes at Lao Song's house, and expressed her admiration for him. Xiaoli said, this cup is for your talent. Song Jianping said, I am not talented, I am an idiot. Lao Song's answer made Xiaoli very puzzled, no matter how modest and low-key, no one will say that they are stupid. But Lao Song smiled self-deprecatingly and said, he is an idiot in the eyes of his wife. In his eyes, my talent is meaningless. Is also a person, others see talent, but the wife sees a waste that does not make money. This can't help but make Song Jianping sigh and say, This husband and wife are also strange. What is right? What is wrong? This is appropriate, and the wrong are also paired. If this is not appropriate, it is all wrong. When Lin Xiaofeng came back in the evening, he saw the food and red wine that had not been cleaned up on the table, and he was very puzzled and said, "One person can't eat so much," and he opened red wine. It must have been a greeting to some vixen to come to the house. My husband is hungry and doesn't care about feeding, but at the same time he is afraid that his husband will steal food. Is there an audience master who sympathizes with Lao Song? Please leave a message in the comment area. The next day, Lao Song felt unwell after get off work, but found it when he got home. There was no one in the house. At this time, he found a note left by his wife, and it turned out that his wife had been on a business trip. This cold and violent person didn't even bother to say hello to himself on a business trip. I was sick, but there was not even a person at home who handed medicine and poured water. The helpless Lao Song could only curl up on the sofa in pain. At this moment, Xiaoli called. She originally wanted to tell Lao Song that her thesis had passed, but she was careful, but she keenly heard that Lao Song's voice was wrong. Knowing that Lao Song was sick and was at home alone, so she hurriedly walked over from the opposite door. Seeing Lao Song's sick appearance, she took Lao Song's temperature, and when she saw that it had a fever of 41 degrees. So she dragged Lao Song to the hospital. But because I was in a hurry, Lao Song's mobile phone fell at home. Because Xiaofeng was not at home on a business trip, and the sick Lao Song had no one to take care of him, Xiaoli came to visit him with things. And Lao Song took this opportunity to give Xiaoli the key to the house. I want her to help her bring her phone back. But Song Jianping never thought that his small move almost put him in a situation of no return. Xiaoli came to Lao Song's house, but she did not rush to open the door, but rang the doorbell first. After confirming that there was no one at home, he entered the house with the key given by Lao Song. After getting the phone, I just wanted to leave, but I saw a room full of messy clothes and dishes that no one was cleaning, so I took off my coat and helped Lao Song clean up the room. But when she left, I forgot the coat on the chair. In the evening, Xiaofeng came back from a business trip and found this woman's coat as soon as he entered the door. She picked it up and looked at it, only to find that it was a worn coat, and it smelled of perfume on it. She instantly decided that her husband was having an affair, and he also took it home while he was away. So she picked up her coat and went back to her parents' house. Looking at this woman's coat, Xiaofeng was angry and annoyed. She couldn't forgive the men who betrayed her. But Xiaofeng's mother thinks that a piece of clothing doesn't mean anything. Let her call Lao Song to ask clearly. But Xiaofeng's temper is more stubborn than a donkey. She and Lao Song were originally in a cold war, and now there is evidence in front of them, so there is no need to talk about it. Xiaofeng's mother said, he was impulsive. Or do you really want to do something with that woman? Lin Xiaofeng said, what is the difference? Xiaofeng's mother said, of course there is a difference, there is an essential difference. Lin Xiaofeng said, but whether it is mental cheating or just physical cheating, Xiaofeng cannot forgive, even if it is impulsive. Once the suspicion begins, the charges are established. In the end, under the persuasion of his mother, Xiaofeng decided to go home and talk to Lao Song. It is said to be talking, but in fact, it should be a question. By the time Lao Song came home from get off work, Xiaofeng had already set up the women's coat waiting for him. Lin Xiaofeng said, who is she? Whose clothes are this? How far are you two? A triple consecutive blow made Lao Song look confused, because he didn't know about clothes at all. Seeing that Lao Song didn't answer, Xiaofeng turned around and wanted to go back to her parents' house again. Lao Song hurriedly stopped him. He desperately explained that he didn't know about clothes, but Xiaofeng couldn't listen to a word. Song Jianping said, can you listen to me? Lin Xiaofeng said, don't I even have the freedom to go? His wife's indifference left Lao Song speechless, and he could only let her leave. But the confused old Song thought left and right, the only possibility for this dress was Xiaoli's. So he took the clothes and asked Xiaoli. Xiaoli said, so it's at your place? Hey, I went to your house to look for it, why didn't I find it? Song Jianping said, Xiaofeng took it. Xiaoli said, what did he say? Song Jianping said, what else can I say, make a fuss. Now jumping into the Yellow River can't be washed away. Xiaoli felt very guilty, which caused a misunderstanding between the couple. But Song Jianping believes that if there is not even basic trust between husband and wife, it is really boring. The relationship between the two has long had problems. This dress is just the last straw that overwhelms the camel. The next day, Lao Song and Xiaoli met downstairs again, and today happened to be Xiaoli's daughter's birthday. Knowing that Xiaofeng had not come back and Lao Song had no one to take care of him, he proposed to have dinner together in the evening. Unexpectedly, when Lao Song came home, he found that Xiaofeng had already returned. Lin Xiaofeng said, what are you looking for? What about that dress? Lao Song just wanted to explain to her about the coat, but at this moment, the doorbell rang. It turned out that it was Xiaoli who brought food to Lao Song. Xiaoli said, hey, it's hot. Ah, come on, come on. The woman suspected that her husband was having an affair, so she called every hour to check on the post. Lin Xiaofeng said, Jianping, are you in the office? Jianping, what about in the hospital? Jianping, what are you doing? However, this is not the end. Her husband will interrogate her like this before every business trip. Lin Xiaofeng said, how many people? Song Jianping said, two. Lin Xiaofeng said, men or women? Song Jianping said, female, an old doctor in his 50s, he went to the consultation with me, an old lady. Lin Xiaofeng said, what time is the plane? Song Jianping said, 11 o'clock. But her husband's answer will not make Lin Xiaofeng feel at ease. She will go to the airport in person to confirm whether her husband's words are true. His wife's desire for control made Song Jianping almost suffocate. Hey, fuck. Song Jianping had a major operation that day, but it was only a few hours, and after he was busy, he found dozens of missed calls. Hey. A long sigh. A full sense of suffocation instantly surged into my heart. However, when the phone rang again, Lao Song did not answer. Because work was already exhausting him, he didn't want to waste energy on such boring things. But Lin Xiaofeng on the other side, seeing that Lao Song could not be contacted, he became anxious in an instant and quickly found a public phone to contact Lao Song. As soon as the phone was connected, she accused Lao Song and said, why don't you answer my phone? Lao Song instantly said, I really cracked this. He didn't want to endure it any longer. Song Jianping said, I am very busy during working hours now, unlike you who are more idle, you do bother. Lao Song didn't want to quarrel with his wife on the phone, so he hung up the phone in a hurry. But after returning home, Lin Xiaofeng couldn't sit still, and his mind was full of worries and wanted to find someone to tell him. At this moment, she heard her neighbor getting off work, so she pulled Xiaoli home. As we all know, two women together, not a story, that is an accident. Lin Xiaofeng, a primary school teacher, suddenly went offline with IQ at this time. She tore it open without scruples. The wound of this divorced female neighbor, she actually asked Xiaoli about her husband's abnormal behavior before her divorce. Knowing that people are divorced by their husbands, is it really appropriate for you to ask this question? But Xiaoli is very generous. Not only is she not angry, he also kept saying good things to Lao Song. Xiaofeng complained that Lao Song did not answer his phone and said, it must be that my mind is not on me. But Xiaoli said, check the post once an hour, purely because the brain melon seeds have sown into the water. This has been married for more than 10 years. It's not a newlywed couple, where is there so much glue? But Xiaofeng didn't think so. Her sixth sense told her that Lao Song had changed. At the beginning, Lao Song was in a state-run hospital and only earned 3,000 yuan a month, and Xiao Feng cried and shouted and scolded him for not making money. But now Lao Song has jumped to a foreign-funded hospital, and with his superb medical skills, he has mixed into the position of vice president, not only with a monthly salary of more than 10,000 yuan, but also with a big run. But as he made more and more money, Lao Song became busier and busier. The two got together less and left more, and Xiao Feng also felt that Lao Song was no longer there. Love yourself as much as you used to. The more she talked, the more angry she became, and then she wanted to go directly to the hospital to ask Lao Song for clarification. Xiaoli hurriedly stopped her and told her that this way of dealing with the problem was very unwise and said, if you get to the bottom of the matter and pursue him fiercely, you can only push him further. But Xiao Feng couldn't listen at all. Lin Xiaofeng said, you are a woman with a failed marriage, why do you come to preach to me? Xiaoli, your lesson is the lack of necessary management of men, and I don't want to follow in your footsteps. Xiaoli wanted to tell her that if she didn't want to get a divorce, don't go to the hospital to find Lao Song. But at this time, Xiao Feng had already gone up and said, even if you die, you have to die to understand. After saying a harsh word, Xiao Feng rushed to the hospital angrily. After Xiaoli returned home, she thought that something big might happen, so she sent a message to Lao Song to remind him. Lao Song saw the information. The head is big and says, I really cracked this. At this moment, the little nurse came over and said, Dean Song, there is a woman outside who is looking for you, and we see that she is in the wrong mood and stop her. When Lao Song heard this, he knew that his wife had found it. According to her personality, if you meet now, there must be a trouble in the hospital. So she instructed the nurse to tell her that she was going to have surgery, and it would take 5 or 6 hours to finish. But Lin Xiaofeng, who heard the news, did not leave, but waited directly at the door. It looks like it won't give up. And Song Jianping upstairs looked at this scene and was completely speechless. Soon, 6 hours had passed and it was dark. But at this time, Lin Xiaofeng still insisted on waiting at the door of the hospital. Lao Song couldn't stand it anymore, so he had to bite the bullet and walk out. Song Jianping said, this trick is really powerful. Is there something wrong? Lin Xiaofeng said, why don't you answer my phone? Song Jianping said, I told you the reason. Lin Xiaofeng said, you want to completely fall out, right? Who is she? Raw. Song Jianping said, who is who? Who are you talking about? Just when the two were arguing, on the other side, Juanzi saw a message. Behind a successful man must be a woman who watches over the woman who appears in front of this man. She felt that it was particularly in line with the current situation of Lao Song. As her boss, Lao Song is also the son of her husband Lu Dongdong, so the relationship between the two is naturally very familiar. So he sent it to Lao Song. But as soon as the phone rang, Lao Song was snatched by Xiao Feng before he could see it. Immediately afterwards, she ignored Lao Song's obstruction and called back. She wanted to see which vixen seduced her husband. Lin Xiaofeng said, Dr. Song, who are you? Who are you? You talk. Who are you? The roar on the phone made Juanzi panic, and she hurriedly hung up the phone. But Xiao Feng did not give up, and then questioned Lao Song. Lin Xiaofeng said, who is he? Song Jianping said, how do I know? Lin Xiaofeng said, a young woman. What did she say? What do you usually say together? With whom? I don't know who he is. Don't say it, right? What do you want me to say? In the face of his wife's vexatiousness, Song Jianping was completely tired and could only let her leave with her mobile phone. Fuck me. After arriving home, Lin Xiaofeng found that his son was missing. Lin Xiaofeng said, Tang Tang. Dang dang. I went crazy for a day, and then I remembered that I still had a son. I was really convinced. Just when she was about to go crazy, Xiaoli brought her over with the child who was already asleep. Xiaoli said, after waiting for you to come back for a long time, I arranged for him to sleep. Xiaoli, thank you. Lao Song returned home late at night, but at this time this home made him no longer feel warm. He turned on the TV and sat weakly on the sofa. My heart is full of distress. However, his wife Lin Xiaofeng still refused to give up, rushed over and smashed the remote control, and even woke up his sleeping son. At this time, she still wanted to ask the woman's name. Lin Xiaofeng said, do you not want to say it if you are alive or dead? Song Jianping said, I don't know, what do you want me to say? Lin Xiaofeng said, who is she? How long have you been healed? How related are you? Lao Song was really tired, he didn't want to talk more, he just wanted to leave as soon as possible. But he was held down by Xiao Feng. Lin Xiaofeng said, who is she? Song Jianping said, Mom, go back to sleep. At this time, Xiao Feng was completely on top and didn't care about his son at all. Lao Song was afraid of affecting his son, so he took his wife into the bedroom. Immediately afterwards, a fierce quarrel broke out between the two. Lin Xiaofeng said, what are you going to do? Song Jianping said, what am I going to do? What do you think you are going to do? Song Jianping said, do you know what I'm going to do? You are crazy. What do you want to do? What are you doing? Lin Xiaofeng said, who is he? Song Jianping said, what who? There is no such person. Lin Xiaofeng said, what message did you send? Song Jianping said, what information? How can I know that information? Now the information is flying all over the sky, how can I know? Lin Xiaofeng said, what the hell is going on? Song Jianping said, how do I know what's going on? It's too difficult to be a man, you have to make money, you have to take care of your family, you have to love your wife, and you can't mess with flowers. The two quarreled all night. Early the next morning, the child knocked on the door and brought his parents a handmade breakfast. I thought that after this quarrel, things would come to an end, but it didn't. Lin Xiaofeng soon began his own riotous operation. She took her husband's mobile phone, wrote down the phone numbers one by one, and dialed them one by one. Lin Xiaofeng said, let's talk about the first. Hello, are you Lu Xiaobai? Well, yes to me. Do you know Song Jianping? Well, of course I know. I am Song Jianping's wife. Hey, Guo Xiaoyan. Who is it? First, it is called, hey, is it Jiang Li? Do you know Song Jianping? Recognize. For every person she excluded, she erases a number, and the woman did this because she suspected that her husband was having an affair. In order to find out the vixen, Lin Xiaofeng almost went crazy. And her crazy actions also caused rumors in the hospital, and everyone talked about Song Jianping. This made Song Jianping very distressed, but helpless. Even every call from his wife frightens him. However, seeing that her husband did not answer the phone, Lin Xiaofeng, who was cooking, instantly became furious, threw away the spatula, and rushed to the neighbor's house murderously. Lin Xiaofeng said, use your phone, our phone is broken. Looking at Xiao Feng with a hostile face, neighbor Xiaoli didn't dare to say a word. And Song Jianping saw that it was a neighbor's phone and answered it. Lin Xiaofeng said, "Song Jianping, aren't you dead yet?" I was startled. Song Jianping almost collapsed. The wife was endless like an old resentful woman, which made him suffocate deeply. And Lin Xiaofeng, who had lost his mind, did not react until this time, and ran to the neighbor's house in the middle of the night to go crazy, which seemed inappropriate, and he was also in front of other people's children. So he dropped a sentence of "I'm sorry" and left in a hurry. That night, Xiao Feng took her son back to her parents' house, and then cried to her mother, denouncing her husband's heartlessness. But Xiao Feng's mother is an understanding person. Xiao Feng's mother said, "Then what's wrong with him? So far, all of this is speculation." But Xiao Feng believed in his intuition. Once the seeds of doubt are planted, the crime is established. Xiao Feng's mother advised her not to think wildly and pay more attention to herself. This strong attitude will only push her husband further and further. But his mother's persuasion did not make Xiao Feng give up. She looked at the last one on the number meter and dialed it. Everyone in front of them ruled out, then this last one must be the vixen who seduced her husband. Lin Xiaofeng said, "Hey, are you Juanzi?" Juanzi said, "Who are you?" Lin Xiaofeng said, "I am Lin Xiaofeng, Lin Xiaofeng." When Lao Song heard his wife's name, he panicked instantly. "This old six, I really admire it. I didn't expect that to be so endless." So I hurriedly wrote a hint to Juanzi. And Xiaofeng wanted to ask Juanzi to meet and talk, and Juanzi gladly agreed. As soon as the two met that night, looking at the young and beautiful Juanzi, Lin Xiaofeng instantly felt ashamed of herself. Lin Xiaofeng said, "Is it you?" With such a young and beautiful assistant, no wonder Lao Song would have an idea. However, after talking, Lin Xiaofeng realized that he was outrageously wrong. Juanzi is the wife of Song Jianping's Xiao Lu Dongbei, and the two have just gotten married. How can they have an improper relationship with Lao Song? Juanzi is lively and cheerful, telling Xiaofeng all kinds of interesting stories. But although Lin Xiaofeng was laughing, the hostility in his eyes, no matter how you look at it, is chilling. After talking with Juanzi, Lin Xiaofeng realized that he might have really wronged Lao Song. She found her neighbor Xiaoli to talk to her, and this time Xiaoli spoke more bluntly. Xiaoli said, "If he really has such a woman and really wants to be good to her, why is he hiding it from you? Does it make sense? Isn't it over to divorce you? Divorce is not a difficult task now. You also call his unit, his colleagues, men want face." Xiaoli reminded her that her irrationality would only push Lao Song farther and farther away. After all, one day she will send her husband into someone else's arms. At this time, Xiao Feng finally realized his recklessness. She didn't want to lose Lao Song, let alone this family. And Xiao Li's advice to her is, don't pay too much attention to each other. Instead, you have to improve yourself. Xiao Li's words coincided with her mother's statement, which made Xiao Feng fall into deep thought. The next day, Xiaofeng made an appointment with Juanzi again, apologizing to her for his misunderstanding, and on the other hand, he also wanted to listen to her advice. But Juanzi's words made Xiaofeng's jaw drop. Juanzi said, "Hey, Sister Xiaofeng, how often do you stay with him?" Lin Xiaofeng said, "What?" Juanzi said, That's it." Lin Xiaofeng said, "Hi, the old husband and wife." Juanzi said, "Don't think so, this kind of thing is a watershed and touchstone for the relationship between husband and wife." Xiaofeng was extremely embarrassed. Lao Song took the initiative every time before, and most of them refused. It has been more than half a year since the two have slept together. Juanzi said, "You really can't go on like this, really." Can women still take the initiative? If you want to save Lao Song's heart, you must take the initiative. In the evening, as soon as Lao Song came home from get off work, Xiao Feng changed his image of an old resentful woman in the past, not only taking the initiative to take off his coat for Lao Song, but also taking the initiative to ask Lao Song to rub his back. Lao Song instantly panicked and said, "What are these girls going to do? I'm afraid it's not going to murder my husband, right?" But after a while, Xiao Feng changed into sexy pajamas and appeared in front of him. His wife's abnormality frightened Lao Song to the point of losing his toughness, and hurriedly got into the bed and pretended to sleep. But Xiaofeng did not give up, also got in and began to move his hands and feet. Song Jianping said, "Hey, Xiaofeng, go to sleep, you're tired." What are you doing, what do you want?" Song Jianping said, "I know. Oh Xiaofeng, I really can't do it today." "Ah, how about another day?" "Oh Xiaofeng." Oh, I can't do it, okay." Xiao Bian has recently had a nosebleed. The wife wanted to applaud the love, but at the critical moment, the husband's gun ran out of bullets. Lin Xiaofeng, who was burning with horn, seemed to have been poured cold water on his head. The husband hurriedly comforted and said, I am in my 40s, 30 is like a wolf, 40 is like a tiger, that refers to your woman. Both men and women, all the same. You don't understand this. As a doctor, Song Jianping began to popularize science for his wife. A man's vigorous period is 18 years old, but he has more than 218, and it is normal to be weak occasionally. Lin Xiaofeng said, Say, are you sexually incompetent? His wife's words made Lao Song confused and said, Oh, it's over, it's over, it's over, it's over. Why can't this little brother stand tall? Song Jianping said, Am I sexually incompetent? Lin Xiaofeng said, Take out the proof. Song Jianping said, What proof? Lin Xiaofeng said, Doctor's certificate. Song Jianping said, I am a doctor. Lin Xiaofeng said, Yours doesn't count. Give me to the designated hospital and doctor. Lin Xiaofeng began to be more serious again, and Lao Song could only do so. But as if you go to check this, it will definitely spread all over the city in the hospital. How can you mix up as a vice president then? The helpless Lao Song had to ask his college classmates for help. Lin Xiaofeng said, What does ED mean? Song Jianping said, Male erectile dysfunction. Seeing the diagnosis, Xiaofeng knew that her husband was really not good, so he panicked in an instant and began to apologize to Lao Song for his previous irrationality. Lin Xiaofeng said, My husband is getting better and better, and being a wife should be more and more happy, but I am always panicking. I always think you will, one day it will dump me. The next day, Xiaofeng began to grab medicine for Lao Song and served Lao Song to drink medicine wholeheartedly. Song Jianping said, Can I stop drinking? It's so bitter that drinking a sack doesn't work. Lin Xiaofeng said, You have to drink. Is it okay to be sick and not treated? Song Jianping said, In fact, I don't care, men and women are the same. As long as the two people have a good relationship, it doesn't matter whether there is something about this or not. Lin Xiaofeng said, Yes. Then you have to be cured if you are sick. If the small hole is not filled, the big hole suffers. Drink. Ha ha ha. The next day, Lao Song and Fa Xiaolu Northeast watched the performance together. But there is a big secret in my heart. Xiaofeng couldn't sit still, so he turned his head and told Zhuanzi the secret. Lin Xiaofeng said, Lao Song went to the hospital for examination and was sick. Zhuanzi said, What kind of disease? Fuck me. Everyone knows that the ugliness of the family should not be publicized, and it is appropriate to tell others about the privacy of their husbands. What's more, Zhuanzi is still Lao Song's assistant. However, this is not the end. The next day Xiaofeng met his neighbor Xiaoli with the Chinese medicine he had just caught. Just when Xiaoli was puzzled, Xiaofeng couldn't hold back again. Lin Xiaofeng said, Let me tell you, don't ask him. Really, I really admire this old six. You just put up a notice in the community and tell others that your husband's pillow is bent. Xiaoli was also enthusiastic, and sent Xiaofeng a secret recipe the next day, saying that it was a special treatment for that aspect of the disease, which was very effective. After get off work, Lao Song saw the recipe and was very confused. If you look closely, it turns out that they are all aimed at your own disease. But if you look closely, Lao Song found that the handwriting of the prescription turned out to be that of Xiaoli, the neighbor next door. Lao Song instantly became calm and said, I know all my secrets. He hesitated again and again, took the prescription and found Xiaoli. Song Jianping said, Did you give this to Xiaofeng? Song Jianping said, You really disappointed me. Why are you also this kind of woman? Can you ignore other people's idle affairs? Xiaoli said, It's for Xiaofeng. Song Jianping said, What do you mean by this? Xiaoli said, I understand you. Song Jianping said, But I've seen you. Ha ha ha. The woman came home from a business trip and found a horror scene. The husband actually took another woman home to steal food. The despondent Zhuanzi walked aimlessly on the streets. But soon she made a bold decision, and in order to take revenge on her husband, she decided to remove the 7-month pregnant fetus. The child is 7 months old, and it will be miserable if he is alive after induction of labor. But if it weren't a last resort, what mother would make this choice? The doctor said that if you want to induce labor, you need to make an appointment, and also gave Zhuanzi a week to think about it carefully. Recalling the sweet past of the two, Zhuanzi never imagined that the man who kept saying that he would love him for the rest of his life would do such a dirty thing. After this heavy blow, Juanzi lost her former liveliness and cheerfulness, became more and more taciturn, and was distracted all day long. I don't know what I'm thinking. This change in his wife made Lu Dongbei feel uneasy. But at the same time, he was also very confident that the two would never be separated. Because in his cognition, the mistakes he made were really just a small thing. Lu Dongbei said, I regret this, why didn't I hide it? How can I let her know? Hey, brother, you said, she won't let me touch it, then on my side, I'm idle. Confucius said that food is also sexy. What did I do wrong? This may be the difference in thinking between men and women. Maybe men can separate their feelings from their bodies, but it is difficult for women to do so. In Lu Dongdong's view, this is just a solution to the physiological problem, not a big deal. However, Song Jianping did not agree with his shameless remarks, believing that men should restrain themselves. Song Jianping said, your referee is Juanzi, tell her. It's useless for me to tell her, she's still a child. Is she a child? A child with a child. Lu Dongdong, don't you think you're going too far? If you talk about it normally, I will ignore you. You really you. What to see, stinky hooligans. There is no greater sorrow than death in the heart. On this day, Juanzi secretly went to the hospital for labor induction. On the other side, Lu Dongbei is purchasing in the supermarket. He carried a vegetable basket and bought a lot of things, wanting to supplement his wife's nutrition. At this moment, the phone rang, and it was Juanzi calling. He hurriedly answered with excitement. Lu Dongbei said, Juan. I called you for a day and you didn't answer the phone, where are you? Juanzi said, I'm in the hospital, I have already made the child. This news was like a bolt from the blue, making Lu Dongbei stand on the spot. The vegetables and fruits in the basket were also scattered all over the floor. He knew that from this moment on, he would not only lose his child, but also lose Juanzi. Sir, your stick bone. Upon learning the news, Lin Xiaofeng said with great emotion, the young couple who were once so loving have come to this point. Lin Xiaofeng said, let's not come this far, look at the strange and scared in our hearts. Song Jianping said, actually, I think this is good, this marriage, when you divorce, you have to leave, and it is not good for anyone not to leave. You say yes. Lin Xiaofeng said, we are not muddled, don't think so much. Lao Song was full of desire to survive, but he couldn't think of it. My own marital crisis is coming soon. On the other hand, Juanzi, who aborted the child, was very painful, but because of her feelings for Lu Dongdong, she was reluctant to divorce. So I wanted to move out of that house first and wait for a while to calm down. But just as she was packing her things, she found a scene that made her sick. It turned out that just last night, Lu Dongdong, who was hit hard, went to a bar to get drunk, and he often fought with his lower body, and brought another kunkin home. At this point, this relationship is no longer irreparable. Juanzi wants to leave this sad place, so she needs Xiaofeng's help. Pull your luggage by car. Song Jianping told Lu Dongbei the news and encouraged him to chase Juanzi back. The two met downstairs, and Northeast pitifully begged Xiaofeng to help him say good things and keep Juanzi. Xiaofeng also felt disgusted when he saw Lu Dongdong, but he would rather demolish a temple than ruin a marriage. He still planned to persuade Juanzi. Lu Dongbei was worried that there would be a suspicion of collusion if he went in, so he asked Xiaofeng to wait for 5 minutes before going in. And in the house at this time, Juanzi looked at the wedding video of the two, recalling the sweetness of the two made her sad. But things are often like this, many women like smooth-tongued men, and in the end they often make themselves bruised. Seeing Lu Dongdong's arrival, Juanzi's eyes were full of anger and disgust. I wanted to leave with my luggage. Xiaofeng persuaded Juanzi to come down. He left a separate space for the two to talk and hid in the bedroom alone. Bored, he also looked at the wedding video of the two of them were so sweet. Now it has come to this point. But in the next second, the content of the video stunned her. The husband actually hugged the female neighbor. The two in the video are very close, as if they are a couple. This made Lin Xiaofeng instantly feel like he was struck by lightning. Juanzi and Lu Dongbei rushed over to explain, but it was too late. Lin Xiaofeng has already decided that her husband has cheated, and the video in front of him is evidence. The strong anger and humiliation made him lose his mind instantly. He snatched the wedding disc and wanted to leave. Juanzi said, listen to me. Listen to me. Sister, Xiaofeng, listen to me, I didn't tell you because I was afraid that you would be sad. Juanzi's explanation was already pale and weak at this time. Everyone knew about this, but they only hid it from themselves. This made Lin Xiaofeng feel like a fool. Immediately afterwards, she took the wedding CD, washed out all the photos, and then went to the dogman and woman murderously to settle accounts with the evidence. As soon as I walked to the gate of the community, I found my neighbor Xiaoli. So he braked sharply, and then reversed the car back. At this time, Xiaoli had not yet realized the seriousness of the matter, so she watched Lin Xiaofeng go straight to her with a murderous face. Lin Xiaofeng said, "Xiaoli, what's going on with you and Song Jianping?" Xiaoli was confused by the question. But then Lin Xiaofeng took out the evidence. Seeing that Xiaoli lowered her head, Lin Xiaofeng launched an offensive and asked her to explain clearly. Xiaoli said, "Go back and ask Lao Song." Lin Xiaofeng said, "I'm asking you now. You didn't show him a little. You didn't show a good impression of him. How dare he do this to you?" "You say," Xiaoli said, "you have a reason." "I don't have the so-called good impression of him as you said, no." Lin Xiaofeng obviously didn't believe it. "I knew that there was only one promotion quota in the hospital, and I knew that the two were competitors, but Lao Song still helped you revise the paper. As a result, Lao Song was defeated when the rating was high. Is it possible to say that you didn't order anything? In fact, there is indeed no substantive relationship between Song Jianping and Xiaoli, but there have indeed been some ambiguities between the two that can only be understood and cannot be conveyed. And it just so happened that there was a cold war between Lao Song and Lin Xiaofeng at that time. Xiaoli noticed that Lao Song had a good impression of her, and in order to give her a high rating, she took advantage of this and asked Lao Song to help her complete her thesis. And while you get the benefits, you don't have to make any sacrifices. People can't catch any handles, which is also her cleverness. Lin Xiaofeng said, "You use them and let them serve you. You are too scheming, you are too good at using men." As for what happened at the wedding, it can be said that it was an accident. Originally, Xiaoli wanted to use Lao Song to give. "I introduced myself to the top management of a foreign-funded hospital, but I didn't expect Lao Song to drink too much that day. Maybe it was vanity, or maybe it was his strong and suspicious wife that made him unable to breathe, and when he was dancing with Xiaoli, Lao Song actually forcibly kissed her. This led to the colleagues present thinking that Xiaoli was Song Jianping's wife. Originally, it was just a misunderstanding, and it wasn't a big deal. But Lao Song did not explain clearly to Lin Xiaofeng at the beginning, and now that the matter has been discovered by Xiaofeng, he will explain it at this time. The nature is completely different. On the other side, Song Jianping received a notice from Lu Dongbei and hurried back. Because he knew that with Lin Xiaofeng's paranoid and suspicious personality, he could do anything. But hurry up and hurry, it's still a step late. When he came back, he found that the two women were fighting for themselves, surrounded by people eating melons. And Song Jianping already loves face. In this case, he did not have the courage to come out to stop this dispute, so he fled in despair while no one was noticing. At this time, Lin Xiaofeng was completely on top. She didn't care about the dignity of adults, and she counted Xiaoli's various wrongs in public. Lin Xiaofeng said, "In addition to Song Jianping, a big fool hat, there are also those judges. Didn't you go and do work for them one by one?" Humiliated in public, Xiaoli endured to the extreme and finally began to fight back. Xiaoli said, "First, what happened in this photo? You see, you go back and ask your family Song Jianping. Second, I didn't, there is no so-called good feeling as you said. If he has a good impression, it's his business, it has nothing to do with me. Third, Lin Xiaofeng, listen to me, you reflect on yourself, why does your husband hug other women in public? Prove that you are mean, you are incompetent, you are vulgar, you can't do anything." Xiaoli's words were like a flame, igniting Lin Xiaofeng, who was sensitive and inferior, which made her completely explode. Fortunately, at this time, Zhuanzi was finally late. She pulled hard to pull Lin Xiaofeng, who was extremely angry, and avoided the situation from continuing to escalate. In the evening, Song Jianping apologized to Lin Xiaofeng and explained everything to her. But at this time, Lin Xiaofeng's emotions were completely out of control. Lin Xiaofeng said, "I feel like it's not wrong at all, you don't want me to go, you think I'm old, you think I'm in a bad state, are you because he doesn't look down on you? Are you making do with me? Why didn't I see it? Why am I so stupid?" Song Jianping said, "I really have nothing to do with her." The crazy Lin Xiaofeng was already on top, only cursing at her husband, completely unaware that the son next door was already crying. Immediately afterwards, Lin Xiaofeng threw Lao Song's previous test report on the table. Lin Xiaofeng said, "When you are with Xiaoli, will you have erectile dysfunction?" Lin Xiaofeng's madness left Song Jianping completely speechless. But Lin Xiaofeng still refused to give up and said, "I know that I am just your legal wife, and in your mind, Xiaoli is your real wife. So you won't have ED with her." Song Jianping said, "I don't have that thing at all. And we have always been in good shape." Lin Xiaofeng said, "Very good. Why are you hard with me? The woman you like is going to treat you. In the face of such a wife, what kind of warrior can keep calm?" Song Jianping was really helpless, and said angrily, "Since you asked me to try, then I will go." But where could the sensitive Lin Xiaofeng stand this kind of stimulation, so the dispute began. Lin Xiaofeng said, go. What are you doing? Song Jianping said, are you still ashamed enough? Lin Xiaofeng said, what am I afraid of being ashamed of? I'm just an old mother and a nanny for you, what face do I have to lose? What are you doing? Xiaofeng. 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 Laoli, come out for me. The woman secretly opened the closet while her husband was asleep, turned over the man's pocket. Immediately afterwards, she found an invitation letter, and the content on it was that her husband's unit was preparing to hold an anniversary celebration and invited them to attend together. But Song Jianping, as her husband, did not tell herself the news, which made Lin Xiaofeng very disappointed. Although he was calm on the surface, Lin Xiaofeng was brewing a terrible plan in his heart at this time. But before the plan was implemented, she still wanted to give her husband a chance. Lin Xiaofeng said, Jianping. What day is it today? Song Jianping said, today is the 23rd. And the date of the company's annual meeting is tonight. Song Jianping said, oh yes, I have something to do at the company at night, so I won't come back to eat. She hoped that her husband could invite her to the party together, but Song Jianping's answer completely disappointed Lin Xiaofeng. So she spent thousands of yuan to do a beautiful beauty, deliberately changed a set of exaggerated outfits and rushed to Laosong Hospital alone. And Juanzi was very surprised to see Lin Xiaofeng come uninvited. Juanzi said, Sister Xiaofeng, are you here for something? Lin Xiaofeng said, I have something to do, you don't know. I know. You know and ask. Do you have something to do? It's okay if her husband hides it from him, but Lin Xiaofeng can't understand why even his best friend doesn't tell him. She knew that according to Xiaofeng's personality, today's matter was probably going to get bigger, so she hurriedly stepped forward to persuade her. Juanzi said, you must weigh the pros and cons. You are husband and wife, and your interests are common. It was not easy for Laosong to jump from a state-run hospital to a foreign hospital, and from an ordinary doctor to the position of vice president. And with Laosong's medical skills, he will work for a few more years. It is likely to develop into a hospital partner. If you make a fuss today, how can Laosong still mess around in the hospital? You may even lose your job. If he is unlucky, what good is it for you and Dang Dang? What good is there for your family? But Lin Xiaofeng felt that Song Jianping's achievements today were also contributed by himself. She paid too much for this family, and in order to be the woman behind him, she even quit her beloved job as a teacher and became a full-time wife. But now that Laosong has succeeded and is rich, he has begun to dislike himself and refuses to even bring himself to the party. Lin Xiaofeng said, when wealth cannot be shared, I believe that most women will still choose to live with her poor couple. Xiaofeng's answer made Juanzi panic because Xiaofeng's purpose today is to make Song Jianping disgraced. Juanzi still wanted to continue to persuade her, but Xiaofeng was already impatient. Lin Xiaofeng said, as my best friend, I keep saying good things to Laosong, what do you mean? I have no job, I have no social status, I don't have him as my manual reference, and no one else knows who I am. But sadly, I know who I am. I need him to give me a little self-esteem, and I don't want him to make a fool of me. Just when the two were arguing, Lu Dongdongdong, who came to pick up Juanzi, saw this scene and hurriedly informed Song Jianping. Knowing that his wife had come to the hospital, Song Jianping was a little overwhelmed. After hesitating repeatedly, he still dialed Xiaofeng's phone. Song Jianping said, that Xiaofeng, I forgot to tell you something. It's our company's annual meeting. I hope the family will come too. No, I'll go directly to the hotel, let's meet in the lobby. Looking at Lin Xiaofeng who was leaving, Song Jianping was big for a while. He knew his wife, and he was afraid that it would be turned upside down today. Song Jianping said, I have a headache, I really had a headache, a splitting headache. To be honest, now that she is making trouble at home, I am not afraid at all. What I was afraid of was that she would go to the courtyard to make trouble. So I can't go. Song Jianping loves face, and he can foresee what impact his wife's public behavior will have on him. So he chose to escape. At this time, Lin Xiaofeng was waiting alone in the hotel lobby, and she was ready to break the net and make Song Jianping ruined. At this moment, Juanzi and Lu Dongbei arrived and told her the news that Song Jianping would not come to the party. However, this time Lin Xiaofeng did not go crazy, but was extremely calm. Lin Xiaofeng said, okay, then I will be the plenipotentiary representative to participate in today's activities of your hospital. Where is Huan? You come to introduce me, I don't know anyone yet. Just as Lin Xiaofeng was about to enter the hotel lobby, Song Jianping, who had chosen to escape before, called. Song Jianping said, I want to take you to the company for an event. Lin Xiaofeng said, what about Xiao Li? Song Jianping said, I want to tell the truth. Perhaps to ease the relationship between the two. Perhaps in order to save this marriage, Song Jianping, who has always been good at escaping, finally got married this time. Whatever the outcome, he chose to face it bravely. But when Song Jianping saw Lin Xiaofeng, he was stunned by her outfit. Because I have been married for more than 10 years, I have never seen her dressed up so exaggeratedly. Just when the two were about to step into the party hall, Lin Xiaofeng suddenly called out to Lao Song. She didn't understand, she had already chosen to escape, but now why did she come back? Lin Xiaofeng said, after all, if I go in this time, I will make you disgrace. The face was completely lost. Song Jianping said, fear is, your hair is a bit exaggerated today, but it's actually as good as you usually do. Lin Xiaofeng said, I did it on purpose, I came today to make a fool of you. Since you don't give me face, I won't give you face either. Xiao Feng knew that Lao Song had come here. It was also full of courage, after all, everyone in the company thought that Xiao Li was his wife. She knew that Lao Song was not easy to explain to everyone, but she just wanted to know why he suddenly changed his mind. Lao Song has always loved face and cares more about his reputation, but his heart had already made a decision, so he was extremely indifferent at this time. Song Jianping said, what about me? I want to start over. I know I was wrong last time, give me a chance to change. Lin Xiaofeng said, aren't you afraid that your bosses and colleagues will think of you? Song Jianping said, don't be afraid. Maybe Lao Song really wanted to save the relationship between the two, or maybe this was Lao Song's desperate gamble to retreat. But hearing her husband's words, Lin Xiaofeng turned his head and left. She left the party hall crying and asking her husband to take her home. The resentment in his heart for him was gone at this moment. She didn't want to attend this party at all, and she didn't want to know people who had nothing to do with her. Lin Xiaofeng said, there is only one person who cares, and that is you. In fact, Lin Xiaofeng only cares about it. Your position in your husband's heart cares about what your husband thinks of you. Lin Xiaofeng said, do you know me? Do you know me? What impact does it have on me? It's enough for you to know that I'm your wife. Lao Song was very moved when he heard her words, and took his wife's hand and took her home. All the contradictions disappeared, and the two returned to the ordinary and sweet life they once lived. However, a smart audience should have guessed the difference in personality and three views between the two is destined to cause turmoil again. On this day, Lin Xiaofeng happily followed her husband to the class reunion. When they arrived at the venue, the men were touting each other and chatting about whose career was more successful. And the women get together to chat about homely things. Everyone knows that when four women are together, it is either a story or an accident. In order to brush up on his sense of existence, Lin Xiaofeng showed off to them, the reason why Lao Song was able to have today's achievements was to mix with the vice president. It's all my own credit. Even for Lao Song, she even quit her job. Lin Xiaofeng said, in fact, I used to do a good job in our school, and my salary is higher than his. I have been rated as an excellent teacher. But for the sake of her family, she can only choose to sacrifice herself when his strong backing. When Lao Song first went to a foreign company, because he was not adaptable, he retreated every day, all because of his own encouragement, so that he could achieve today's achievements. He is a person, he is timid, indecisive, thinking more and doing less. I told him, you can't do this. Now that you have taken this step, you can no longer think about going back. How embarrassing it is, you say. Xiao Feng's eloquence made the women around him believe it and express their curiosity about him. The woman said, hey, which university did you graduate from? Have you ever been to college? The woman's words made Lin Xiaofeng stunned instantly. But that's not the end, they then launched soul torture on Xiao Feng. The woman said, hey, you are so young, are you willing to be a good wife and mother at home? Don't you feel unsafe in this society? The words of several people stung deeply Lin Xiaofeng's sensitive nerves. On the way back, she was sullen. He didn't pretend to be a fork, and he caused a commotion, so he started a temper tantrum with Lao Song. Lin Xiaofeng said, break the party, don't bring me here in the future. The woman, just that woman, kept asking me why I didn't have a job. I asked it again, and I asked it repeatedly. Ha ha ha. Hey, what's so great about her? Aren't you just helping people count banknotes at the bank? My husband still owes a big debt. She actually asked me if I had ever gone to college. Ha ha. These two are quite a good match. One is unqualified, the other is uneducated. Lao Song smiled and comforted. It's normal for class reunions to joke, save some face for your classmates. Lin Xiaofeng said, what face do I have in front of you? I am a useless housewife. Song Jianping said, I don't mean that. Lin Xiaofeng said, that's what I mean. Okay, what are you doing, Xiaofeng? It's good, what are you doing? The asymmetry of the social status and income of the two has always been a thorn in Lin Xiaofeng's heart. A little inferiority complex in her heart made her sensitive and vulnerable. And Lao Song saw that Xiaofeng's face changed again, and he was speechless. It didn't take long for Lao Song's colleague had dinner, and he invited Xiaofeng to go with him. Xiaofeng said, I want to praise you hard in front of your colleagues and give you enough face. But Lao Song believes that it is better to be natural between husband and wife, and pretending to be awkward will make people laugh. But Lin Xiaofeng was instantly unhappy, thinking that Lao Song's colleague had said bad things about him. Song Jianping said, people didn't say anything about you, so I'll tell you this truth. You see, some couples, regardless of their face, make noise in public. Isn't this okay? There is also a kind of, it is two people who pretend to be affectionate, greasy, and crooked, and both are tacky. Xiaofeng listened, but thought that Lao Song was mocking him. Lin Xiaofeng said, are you still worried about what happened last time? Think I'm embarrassing you? You said it earlier, why are you going around such a big Ben? Song Jianping said, you are unreasonable again. Lin Xiaofeng said, who is unreasonable? Yo, you're not happy, you cannot go tomorrow. Song Jianping said, if you don't go, do you think I love to go? She doesn't even have an identity or status, and she is still Mrs. Song Jianping when introduced. Lin Xiaofeng said, here we go again. Song Jianping said, is it interesting for you to say this all day long? 3 times as light as water, do you understand? Lin Xiaofeng said, just say that, you still can't remember. Song Jianping said, I remember. When the party doesn't invite you, you think Lao Song thinks you are ashamed. When I invited you, you were here again. But that's not all. As a little fairy, Lin Xiaofeng turned over Xiao Li's old account at this time. Lao Song's brain instantly buzzed and said, this old six, I really admire it. Did we agree never to mention that? Lin Xiaofeng said, I said this to you and forced you. Seeing that Xiaofeng wanted to go crazy again, Lao Song was afraid of affecting the child, so he wanted to call Xiaofeng back to the bedroom. But at this time, Xiaofeng was a little upset and ignored Lao Song AI. Seeing that he and Xiaofeng could not communicate, Lao Song sighed and rushed out of the door helplessly. Lin Xiaofeng said, if you don't pay attention, you will leave, and if you don't pay attention, you will leave. Don't come back. As we all know, if you say the most ruthless words, you will be beaten the hardest. At this time, Xiaofeng didn't know that she was pushing her husband step by step on the road of blackening. The little girl just wants to play with her friends, but the little boy who has always had a good relationship rejected her this time. The little girl said, I don't want you to play. Why? The little boy said, I won't let you play, my mother won't let me play with you. The little girl was very sad and could only run home to complain to her mother. The little girl said, Mom, Daodu, and the others don't play with me. Xiao Li was stunned for a moment, but she quickly understood why. Because not long ago, Lin Xiaofeng suspected that Xiao Li had hooked up with her husband, and not only scolded her in full view, but also slapped her hard. This incident caused a lot of turmoil in the community, and the daughter was implicated by herself. But as a mother, looking at her daughter's tearful appearance, it made her feel very uncomfortable. In the evening, she hesitated again and again, but decided to talk to Lin Xiaofeng. But at the moment when she was about to ring the doorbell, she hesitated. Thinking of Lin Xiaofeng's hysterical appearance, thinking of her eyes that seemed to be about to eat people, Xiao Li knew that if she went in, Lin Xiaofeng would definitely go crazy again. So she still flinched. On the other hand, Dang Dang didn't understand why his mother didn't let him play with his good friends. But Lin Xiaofeng replied like this, the upper beam is not straight, and the lower beam is crooked. Since I thought of Xiao Li, it was not surprising. Lin Xiaofeng began to scold Song Jianping again, telling him to stay away from Xiao Li in the future. Lin Xiaofeng said, you don't know what he said in public. He said he didn't have a good impression of you, and said that you had a good impression of him. I have already told Dang Dang not to play with Nyo Nyo again in the future. But Lao Song didn't think so, saying, adults' affairs have nothing to do with children. Lin Xiaofeng said, what kind of good children can this kind of person bring? Don't take us seriously and bring us bad. It is best not to tell children about the right and wrong between adults, because their understanding is limited. But as a neighbor, I bowed my head and didn't look up. The moment the two met, there was a little embarrassment in the air. Nyo Nyo said, hello auntie. But in the face of the child's polite greetings, Lin Xiaofeng was too lazy to pay attention. Nyo Nyo said, Mom, why doesn't auntie pay attention to us? Xiao Li said, what can be done? That's just the quality. Xiaoli said, don't be shameless. Lin Xiaofeng said, do you have quality? You have the quality to seduce other men. Even if there is a great resentment, he used to be a people's teacher, and he was still in front of two 7-year-old children, so he spoke so wildly. I really cracked this. Lin Xiaofeng's road is not feasible. Helpless, Xiaoli had to find Lao Song and say, no matter what kind of conflict there is between adults, the child is innocent. She hoped that Lao Song could come forward to do work for Lin Xiaofeng. But Lao Song just sighed. Let's just say, Xiaoli, you are smart all your life, do you think Lao Song can be the master of his daughter-in-law? Yes, he is just Song Jianping, not Kang Shiyi. In the evening, Song Jianping wanted to discuss this matter with Xiao Feng, but as soon as Lin Xiaofeng heard Xiaoli's name, he instantly got on it. It was as if Xiaoli had become her nightmare. Song Jianping said, we are all mothers, let's be considerate of each other. Lin Xiaofeng said, but the child is a little behind in advance. Not only did you meet Xiaoli alone, but you also came to say good things to her, what do you mean? Song Jianping said, can you not say this? Is it endless to turn over old accounts? Song Jianping said, adults are adults, children are children, children have offended you. Lin Xiaofeng said, did I offend his child? Did I say he had a child? I just don't want my child to be with his child. Song Jianping said, don't say it, sleep and sleep. Lin Xiaofeng said, don't, I have to make this matter clear today. This day can't be passed. Lao Song was very speechless, but he had no choice but to listen to her chatter. Lin Xiaofeng said, why didn't he come to me directly? He went around such a big bend to talk to you. You really have to ask him. I think he still has illusions about you. I really cracked this. He loves me, he wants to be with me. The woman just took a look and knew that the man in front of her was a big radish with a flower. But she didn't choose to stay away from the scumbag, but took the initiative to get in. The man was stunned for a moment, and then looked at the woman in front of him carefully, and instantly gave her 85 points in his heart. The man said, can you drive? The woman said, yes. The man said, let's go, walk. Got a positive answer from the woman, so the two reached some kind of tacit understanding. Immediately afterwards, the man took the woman home. But just when he was about to get out of the car, the man just glanced at the black windowsill and suddenly changed his mind. It turned out that after Zhuanzi aborted her 7-month pregnant child, the two began to separate. Lu Dongbei slept on the bed in the bedroom, and Zhuanzi slept on the sofa in the living room. And the reason why there is no divorce is because Zhuanzi still loves Lu Dongdong. Although she couldn't accept betrayal, she was unwilling to give up love. So knowing that Lu Dongbei is a scumbag, she still believes that he will change for himself because of love. And since losing the child, Lu Dongbei was also hit hard and hung out in bars all day long. Recalling the sweetness of the two and the child who was about to be born, Lu Dongbei could only use alcohol to anesthetize himself. But he, who has always been accustomed to thinking with his lower body, still couldn't hold back today, ready to take another woman home. However, when he was about to kick the door, he held back this time. Lu Dongbei still loves Zhuanzi, he wants to start over and let Zhuanzi forgive himself. So he took out a stack of 100 yuan bills and wanted to send the bar girl away. Lu Dongbei said, 200. This is the taxi money to go back, you should pay. Lu Dongbei was stunned, he had been in 100 flowers, and the leaves did not touch his body. What kind of woman had never seen him? But today's women are an exception. The woman said, who are you? Lu Dongbei said, anyway, he is not the kind of person you think. The woman said, you are not the kind of person I thought you were. Lu Dongbei said, what kind of person do you think I am? The woman said, I thought you were the kind of person I was looking for, but unfortunately not. The two had a philosophical discussion, and the originally agreed deal failed. At the same time, Zhuanzi is discussing life with Lin Xiaofeng. When two women in an unhappy marriage get together, it is inevitable to feel a lot of emotion. Zhuanzi said, I can see through men, and they are all virtuous. What kind of sea is dry and rotten, never swing, there is no need to count on it at all. Man, there is no one who does not eat from the bowl. Look at the pot. Lu Dongbei, it's the kind of thing you can do if you think about it. As for Lao Song, he is the kind who just wants not to do it, much better than Lu Dongdong. Lao Song has his own moral binding and self-control, unlike Lu Dongdong, who only knows how to think with his lower body. Zhuanzi persuaded Xiaofeng to say, a man like Lao Song is rare, and it should be cherished. Zhuanzi said, sometimes I also think, since we are not happy together, let's leave. But can you live well without me? I know in my heart that I still love him. Even if he betrayed me, I still love him. I haven't dealt with any boys, I've never been so invested. Looking at Juanzi crying bitterly, Lin Xiaofeng felt pity. Like herself, she is a woman who has been broken by men. The next day, Lu Dongbei heard Juanzi shout and hurried over to check. But as soon as Juanzi saw him, she kicked him aside. It turned out that he just had a dream, and the dream was all about the happiness of the two of them. But that happiness disappeared with Lu Dongdong's betrayal. Lu Dongbei was very depressed, and it seemed that he wanted Juanzi to forgive himself, and he still had a long way to go. In the evening, Lu Dongbei came to the bar again. Coincidentally, I met the woman from last time again. Depressed, he told the woman the story of him and Juanzi. He always thought that he had just made a small mistake, but his wife always held on to it. Lu Dongbei said, "Now I know that sometimes innocence also means naivety." Why didn't she understand that sometimes love and desire are actually two different things? What about you? Impossible. Men and women are inherently different, and this is the problem. Men's lust and desire can be separated, but women, among 90% of women, emotions and desires are the same and inseparable. To give you an example, why the prostitute industry has flourished and grown in scale over the years, and the so-called, it can only be those stragglers who have never formed any climate. This is the market economy and market laws. This woman is terribly sober, as if she can see through everything in the world. Her words left Lu Dongbei speechless. Just when the two were chatting passionately, Song Jianping on the other side was having a hard time. He just wanted to invite his wife to his colleague's party, but Lin Xiaofeng was worried about the last party. Lin Xiaofeng said, "Do you think I embarrassed you? You said it earlier, why are you going around such a big bend?" Song Jianping said, "You are unreasonable again." Lin Xiaofeng said, "Who is unreasonable? You're not happy. Tomorrow you cannot go." Song Jianping said, "If you don't go, do you think I love to go? She doesn't even have an identity or status, and she is still Mrs. Song Jianping when introduced." Lin Xiaofeng said, here we go again." Song Jianping said, "Is it interesting for you to say this all day long? 3 times as light as water, do you understand?" Lin Xiaofeng said, "Just say that, you still can't remember." Song Jianping said, "I remember. When the party doesn't invite you, you think Lao Song thinks you are ashamed. When I invited you, you were here again." But that's not the end. Lin Xiaofeng, as a little fairy, turned over Xiao Li's old account again at this time. Lao Song's brain instantly buzzed and said, "This old six, I really admire it. Did we agree never to mention that?" Lin Xiaofeng said, "I said this to you and forced you." Seeing that Xiaofeng wanted to go crazy again, Lao Song was afraid of affecting the child, so he wanted to call Xiaofeng back to the bedroom. But at this time, Xiaofeng was a little upset and ignored Lao Song AI. Seeing that he and Xiaofeng could not communicate, Lao Song sighed and rushed out of the door helplessly. Lin Xiaofeng said, "If you don't pay attention, you will leave, and if you don't pay attention, you will leave. Don't come back." Song Jianping was in a depressed mood, so he went to the bar to find Lu Dongbei to have fun. But he never thought that here, he would meet someone who would change his life. Lu Dongbei excitedly introduced the confidant he had just met to Lao Song and said, "Desperate sashimi." A few people had just taken their seats. Lu Dongdong's phone rang. It turned out that Xiaofeng saw that Lao Song did not come home in the middle of the night, so he called to check the post. Lu Dongbei said, "Is your brother here? I didn't spend time with him." But as soon as he hung up the phone, Lao Song took out his mobile phone. But in the next second, Lu Dongbei was slapped in the face at the speed of light. Lao Song smiled bitterly. His wife's chatter and suspicion had made him suffocate. At this time, he just wanted to hide as far away as possible. The woman said, "He is too idle, he should be given something to do." Looking at the depressed middle-aged man in front of him, the woman's words seemed to be calm. A firecracker was lit on the lake, making Lao Song's dead heart no longer calm. The woman said, "Take the liberty of asking, do you still care about her? If you don't care about her, give you the most relaxing way to make her fall in love with someone else. I'm not talking about falling in love with someone, it's online dating." Lao Song's eyes lit up. At this time, he was a little moved and said, "It's also a betrayal of the heart. Hurry up and let her fall in love with someone else, so that you two won't be even." Lao Song knew that doing so could get rid of Lin Xiaofeng's shackles, but moral constraints made him dare not do so. But this routine is undoubtedly very much in line with Lu Dongdong's appetite, and he immediately started ideological work for Lao Song, and took the initiative to ask for help, and he was Xiaofeng's online dating partner. Song Jianping said, "Don't talk nonsense." Lu Dongbei said, "We can consider it." "Yes, you don't care about this, hey, you tell me her name online." Song Jianping said, "I wonder Lu Dongdong, do you think you can hook up with anyone?" Lu Dongdongbai said, "If I didn't try, why are you so confident?" Do you underestimate me? Song Jianping said, so sure. Lu Dongbei said, I can try. Peach blossoms are in full bloom. Thus began a conspiracy against Lin Xiaofeng. And Song Jianping just wanted to get rid of the shackles with this, but he would never have thought that this was like a Pandora's box. Once opened, he could never stop. The men came home from work and found a strange scene. The wife, who has always been fierce, has become surprisingly gentle today. Lin Xiaofeng said, what do you want to eat at night? Whatever. Not only did she greet her with a smile, but she also cooked a delicious table herself. Song Jianping couldn't believe his eyes. However, all this was not his delusion. Even when he met his female neighbor Xiaoli again, Lin Xiaofeng changed his previous attitude. Lin Xiaofeng said, Xiaoli. Nyo. Dang, don't you want to play with Nyo? Go for it. Xiaoli, my temper is a bit straight, sometimes it's good and bad. I can't control my temper, don't mind. Nyo, let's go play ball. Where? Our distant relatives are not as good as close neighbors, you used to help me, if you have anything, just say it. Xiaoli was instantly stunned and said, is this still the Lin Xiaofeng she knows? The last time we met, he ignored himself and his daughter, and even scolded himself. But now only 2 days later, Lin Xiaofeng's attitude has changed 720 degrees. It turned out that just yesterday, in order to get rid of the shackles of his wife, Lao Song, he actually studied a vicious online dating plan with Lu Dongbei, and Lu Dongbei came forward to have an online relationship with Lin Xiaofeng. He originally just wanted to divert Lin Xiaofeng's energy so that she wouldn't pay attention to herself all the time. But I never expected that. The two only chatted once on the internet, and the effect was so good. So Lao Song hurriedly confirmed the situation with Lu Dongdong. Song Jianping said, what did he talk to you? How do you know? To me, it's good to me, it's very enthusiastic, and the enthusiasm makes me a little uncomfortable. Lu Dongbei said, it worked, right? That's where balance comes in. Lao Song tasted the sweetness, and he told Lu Dongbei to stop in moderation. But Lu Dongbei felt that the good show was just beginning. Without his wife's occasional checks and endless nagging, Lao Song tasted the sweetness, and he had never been as relaxed as he is now. He tapped the keyboard, venting his inner depression. After thinking about it, he still called Lu Dongdong. Song Jianping said, how is the online dating plan going? Lu Dongbei said, continue. Song Jianping said, hey, I didn't say it. Lu Dongbei said, yes, continue. Refreshing. At this moment, Zhuanzi came to Lao Song to sign. Seeing Lao Song's tired appearance, he couldn't help but ask. Zhuanzi said, you didn't sleep well last night. Song Jianping said, basically didn't sleep. Zhuanzi said, quarrel again. Song Jianping said, no, there was no quarrel, she taught me a lesson. Why this time? Why? Never why. Zhuanzi saw that Lao Song was in a bad mood and wanted to call him out to dinner, but Lao Song refused. Song Jianping said, I'll be quiet alone for a while. Now stay by yourself at your best. After get off work, Lao Song did not go home, but ran to Lu Dongdong's house to hide from leisure. But at this moment, the peach blossoms bloomed and sent a message to Lu Dongdong. Outrageous. Although he said so, Lao Song's body was still very honest. He also wanted to see what his wife would say to other men online. But he didn't realize at this time that human nature could not stand the test. Lin Xiaofeng told the process of acquaintance with Lao Song on the internet. The old Song was once personable and had an extraordinary temperament. His humor attracted him even more. Later, the two met and fell in love and came together. Lin Xiaofeng said, we once vowed to hold hands for the rest of our lives. Now, all of this is a thing of the past. Lao Song looked at his wife telling the past of the two, and he also sighed for a while. Used to love each other so much, but now the marriage is a chicken feather. Lin Xiaofeng said, the soldiers are at the city, can you understand me? But at this moment, Lu Dongbei launched soul torture on Lin Xiaofeng. Song Jianping stared at the screen, he also wanted to know this answer, because he had asked his wife himself, but his wife's answer made him feel chilled. I tell you, I hate you. Hate. Get it? Now facing this question again, he wondered how Lin Xiaofeng would answer. But Lin Xiaofeng stared at the screen and thought for 2 seconds, and then made such a reply. Lin Xiaofeng said, I hate him. When Song Jianping saw this answer, he was completely desperate, and he was completely dead for this marriage. He couldn't figure out what he had done wrong. Lu Dongbei said, it's coming, I'll read it to you. For him, I willingly took on the whole of a family. As a result, I gave up my job and became an authentic housewife, a housewife without any status, without him as my instruction manual. It's all my own choice. What I couldn't accept was not my own current situation, but his attitude towards me. Successful men dislike and abandon other people's old and yellow wives. Insulting and domineering, this is slander. Song Jianping said, if you want me to think, he is really not slander. That's what he thought. Lu Dongbei said, the soldiers are coming to the city, please tell us what you think. Question, huh? In that case, why didn't he divorce? It's really because of hatred. Lin Xiaofeng's answer made the two scratch their heads. But Lin Xiaofeng thinks that she has given all her love to her husband and family, and she is unwilling. At this moment, Lin Xiaofeng took the initiative to ask for Lu Dongdong's phone number. This made Lao Song unable to hold back any longer. Song Jianping said, what kind of woman do you think she is? Looking for a strange man on the internet to call her, is she betraying? She is also a betrayal of her heart. Lu Dongbei said, from today onwards, you will find a way, see you find a way, and let her find a way to fall in love with you. Song Jianping said, in love. The soldiers are coming to the city, and I want to see it too. How will he end up then? Lin Xiaofeng fell in love online. The other party was not only sunny and considerate, but also understanding, which made Lin Xiaofeng think that he had met a confidant. But she would never have thought that this so-called online relationship it turned out to be a trap carefully set by her husband Song Jianping and Fa Xiao Lu Dongbei for themselves. She would never have thought that her hatred for her husband had been seen by Song Jianping. And it was these three words that made Song Jianping completely give up on her. Xiaofeng's mother was sick that day, so she wanted her to come over and take care of her for a few days. But what if I leave and my 7-year-old son has no one to take care of me? So Lin Xiaofeng called Lao Song and asked him to take a few days off to take care of the children at home. But it just so happened that the leader had arranged for Lao Song to go on a business trip tomorrow. At this time, it is really impossible to shirk it. Lin Xiaofeng said, then what should I do if my mother is sick? Can I still leave them alone? Song Jianping said, this is my official business, and it is impossible to change what has been decided. Lin Xiaofeng said, you are working, what should I do? Is my mother sick and no one takes care of her? Then isn't it over for you to take the pawn? My mother has a fever, what should I do if I am infected? Xiaofeng, you are Dongdong's mother, you should take care of him. So what are you, a child? With his immediate boss by his side, Lao Song didn't want to quarrel with her on the phone, so he hung up the phone. But at this time, Xiaofeng was already on top, and the more she thought about it, the more she felt unfair to herself, so she immediately dialed back. Face the wind. Lin Xiaofeng said, if you want to go on a business trip, I have to take care of the children, and if you go to work, I have to cook and wash clothes to serve you. You will become famous and become successful, what about me? I'm nothing. Song Jianping said, can you say a few words? How many times have these words been repeated, can you change it to something fresh? Let me tell you Lin Xiaofeng, this is my official business, I can't ask for leave for this matter all the time. Lin Xiaofeng said, don't tell me these big truths, I'll tell you Song Jianping. Even if it is a couple, yours is yours, and yours will never be mine. I really regret it now, why did I desperately become this housewife in the first place? This wave of offensive was too strong, and Lao Song couldn't resist it, so he could only hang up the phone. But Xiaofeng ran back to his parents' house by himself. The child can't be left unattended. Lao Song had no choice but to find his neighbor Xiaoli and ask her to help. Song Jianping said, I'm going on a business trip, no one takes me, no one cares about him. When Xiaoli heard this, she instantly said, it's no problem to help with pawn, but let Xiaofeng know what's out of place. Lao Song has already given up on Xiaofeng, she loves it so much. Lao Song told Xiaoli that he was just helping to cook for the children, and Juanzi would help at other times. Xiaoli didn't want to cause trouble for herself. She understood Xiaofeng's character, but she could only reluctantly agree. On the other side, Lin Xiaofeng, who was taking care of his mother at home, couldn't help but feel sad when he saw his parents still loving at such an old age. She couldn't figure out how her marriage would work. It has become what it is today. Lao Song found Lu Dongbei before the business trip and persuaded him that if he wanted to reconcile with Juanzi, he had to take good care of his lower body. Lu Dongbei said, will that thing continue? Song Jianping said, what's the matter? Lu Dongbei said, peach blossoms are in full bloom. Lao Song is very predictable. As soon as he left, the sashimi in the bar called the northeast. But remembering Lao Song's advice, Lu Dongbei thought about it for 8 seconds, but still refused. But for a man like Lu Dongdong, being alone in an empty bed is really a torture. Just when Juanzi was taking care of the child in Lao Song's house, Lu Dongbei came to Juanzi and wanted to have a good talk with her. But Juanzi didn't want to see him. Seeing that Lu Dongdong's car was downstairs, Juanzi still ignored him. Lu Dongbei waited all night and could only leave unwillingly. Juanzi's indifference to Lu Dongbei has become more and more unbearable for him. And a person like Lu Dongbei would not hang himself from a tree. Depressed, he could only vent his emotions with the peach blossoms on the internet. And Lin Xiaofeng has become more and more addicted to the soldiers under the city. As soon as she has time, she will immediately come to the computer. The man's reasonableness and understanding already captivated her. Lin Xiaofeng said, "Actually, I am not qualified to educate you, because my life is also a mess. I am close to the person I love. But they can't understand each other." Lu Dongdong's words made Lin Xiaofeng sink. The man opposite had the same misfortune as herself, and she felt that she had found a confidant. Lu Dongbei said, "In fact, there are times when I also thought about giving up, but thinking of our past sweetness, your feelings, and the youth I once paid, I am unwilling. It is precisely because of the beauty of the past that I feel the pain of the present more and more. Willingness and reluctance fall second. 30 years old is the best time for a woman. It not only maintains the freshness of youth, but also has a mature charm. If a woman is like a flower, then a 30-year-old woman is a blooming flower. You should have faith in yourself." Every word of the soldiers under the city spoke to Lin Xiaofeng's heart. At this moment, Lin Xiaofeng's eyes have never been so soft, she smiles so sweetly, and she is in love at this moment. Lu Dongbei said, "Marriage is really an art, so I think that since you can't change things other than you should master and adjust yourself. Caring for yourself, it is one of the most important elements of the art of marriage." Lin Xiaofeng has completely changed. She began to buy all kinds of expensive clothes, started running and exercising, and also started to put on makeup, and her whole mental outlook changed dramatically. The old lady of the passerby said, "Hey, little girl, little girl." The old lady's casual name would even make her happy for a long time. Lin Xiaofeng said, "Little girl, 20-year-olds can be old-fashioned, and 30-year-olds can be youthful. Now you believe me, right?" Although Lu Dongbei is a scumbag, he says these words in every sentence in Lin Xiaofeng's heart. Lin Xiaofeng said, "Can you tell me, what kind of person are you?" Lu Dongbei said, "An empathetic." At this time, Lin Xiaofeng has completely fallen, and I hope to get to know you. Soon Song Jianping returned from a business trip, but the storm he expected did not appear. The moment Lin Xiaofeng appeared, Song Jianping was completely stunned. Lin Xiaofeng said, "Are you back?" Her gentle eyes and sweet smile. Song Jianping couldn't remember how long he hadn't seen such a radiant wife. This is the power of love. Song Jianping said, "Since this incident, her attitude towards me has really changed, and she is different from the past. She has become, at least for so many years, I have never been radiant. And I can't say it, I'm young, not only young, the whole state is definitely different from before. So, this woman needs the nourishment of love more than a man." At this time, Lao Song was a little jealous, because this incident proved that his wife was not indispensable, and she could live well even without herself. Song Jianping said, "Somewhat, I admit it." Lu Dongbei said, "Okay, then my task is completed." Lu Dongbei's invitation to the work is completed. I think that if the relationship between the two eases, then the online dating plan can end. However, what everyone didn't expect was that Song Jianping had already brewed a terrible plan at this time. Song Jianping said, "Your task is not completed yet." Lu Dongbei said, "No, I can't do it like this anymore, I want to do it like this. She has to fall in love with me." Song Jianping said, "He is in love with you. Then you show me the evidence." In order to make Juanzi forgive himself, Lu Dongbei bought a large bouquet of roses on his wedding anniversary and wanted to talk to Juanzi. But at this time, Juanzi had just suffered such a big blow, how easy was it to say forgiveness? So he rejected Lu Dongdong's invitation. But Lu Dongbei was furious in an instant, and ran to the bar in anger. A man like him will not be willing to be lonely, let alone choose to hang himself from a tree. Seeing your confidant sleeping, so he wrote down his phone number and left the bouquet of flowers. Seeing Lu Dongbei coming back at night, Juanzi immediately lay back on the sofa. She still didn't want to deal with Lu Dongdong. But when Lu Dongbei was taking a bath, a woman's phone called. The woman said, "Hello, let me look for Lu Dongdong." Juanzi said, "Northeast, phone." Lu Dongbei said, "Thank you for the flowers." "Ha ha ha, okay, so be it." "Okay, car, hey, our boss's secretary, oh." The woman's phone call and Lu Dongdong's abnormality made Juanzi feel uneasy. The next day, Juanzi went to find her best friend Lin Xiaofeng. I want to talk about the distress in my heart. But when she saw Lin Xiaofeng's state at this time, she was completely stunned. In the past, Lin Xiaofeng could be said to be sloppy, but now he is carefully maintained. Juanzi said, "Look much younger. Hey, have you changed your cosmetics?" Lin Xiaofeng said, "No, I have always used these." Juanzi said, "What's going on?" But there is only one possibility for a woman to have such a change. Juanzi said, "Hey, Sister Xiaofeng, are you in love with someone?" Lin Xiaofeng was told that he was in love with something and was a little shy. Lin Xiaofeng said, "Why do you think so?" Juanzi said, "As the saying goes, love is the best cosmetics for women." "Really, Sister Xiaofeng?" Juanzi began to gossip, chattering and asking the other party about their age, occupation, and whether they had 8-pack abs. At this time, Lin Xiaofeng's face was red, shy like a little girl. Lin Xiaofeng said, "I don't know." Sister Xiaofeng said, "I really don't know, I don't know, I haven't seen him." However, Lin Xiaofeng's answer surprised Juanzi. Juanzi said, "Did you meet online?" "Online dating." But Juanzi heard this answer. His face changed instantly. Juanzi said, "What's wrong?" "I see." She finally figured out why her husband ignored her and why he held the computer and typed on the keyboard until late at night every day. Why has he been so honest lately, going home after get off work, stay in front of the computer all night? It must be online dating. Juanzi knew Lu Dongdong, first online dating, then meeting, and finally cheating. According to Lu Dongdong's personality, he can do all of this. But Lin Xiaofeng didn't think much of Juanzi's guess. Lin Xiaofeng said, "Don't guess blindly without base. He may be because you ignore him all the time, he is too distressed, so he looks for some sustenance on the internet." Juanzi was instantly stunned. Lin Xiaofeng, who has always had an emotional cleanliness fetish, can actually say such things. Your old song drank too much and hugged his female neighbor. You have been hysterical for several episodes. My husband has been mentally derailed, but in your mouth, it has become looking for some spiritual sustenance. Your double standard is quite slippery. So Juanzi returned home and began to try the password over and over again. After several attempts, she finally logged in. But the content of the email that caught her eye shocked her. The two not only fell in love online, but also reached the point of meeting. Lu Dongdongbai said, "Since I met you, my lifeless life has been full of hope. Your erudition, your understanding has opened up a whole new world in front of me. These days, I often think, what do you look like? How old is it? You said that your marriage is also very unfortunate, and I hope that my existence can also bring you a little light and a little hope. You promised me to meet with me, and I have been preparing for this day. Hope it doesn't disappoint you after meeting." The content of the email made Juanzi's heart fall into an ice cave. For love, she aborted her 7-month-old child. She thought that her husband would change for herself because of love, but she realized at this time that it was all in vain. But what she didn't expect even more was that the woman who was chatting passionately with her husband was her best friend Lin Xiaofeng. And at this moment, Lu Dongbei came back. Seeing Juanzi holding the computer in despair, he understood that Juanzi already knew everything. Lu Dongbei said, "Northeast." "Hey," Juanzi said, "let's get a divorce." Every time a woman comes home, she hurries to the computer, even if the child is hungry, she doesn't care. Dang Dang said, "Mom, I'm hungry." Lin Xiaofeng said, "Wait." And the reason why women are like this is because she finds that her online dating partner has not replied to her for more than 24 hours. This made Lin Xiaofeng's heart begin to be restless. What everyone didn't expect was that after a period of communication, the soldiers on the internet had become Lin Xiaofeng's spiritual sustenance. Check the computer every day to see his information. It has become Lin Xiaofeng's most urgent thing. But whenever she saw that the gray head was no longer beating, Lin Xiaofeng's throbbing heart would fall into an ice cave. Waiting day by day has been disappointed again and again. This made Lin Xiaofeng's heart more and more anxious, and he would even get angry over a small thing. Before going to bed that day, Xiao Feng wanted his son to drink a glass of milk. But the child just ate too much dinner and didn't want to drink it. Thus, the strife began. Lin Xiaofeng said, "Do you want to drink?" Dang Dang said, "If you don't drink, don't drink." Lin Xiaofeng said, "Do you want to drink?" Dang Dang said, "If you don't drink, don't drink." Lin Xiaofeng said, "I think you are stubborn." Song Jianpain said, "Okay, okay, okay." Lao Song saw his wife going crazy and hurried up to stop him. But his actions completely angered Lin Xiaofeng. Lin Xiaofeng said, "Hey, what kind of good person are you running out? Do you usually take care of your children? Don't talk about it here. Drink. Dang dang, what are you doing? What am I doing? What am I doing? I have been serving you both to eat and wear all day long, but I have served you both to sin." Song Jianpain said, "Who said you are guilty?" Lin Xiaofeng said, "Let me tell you that Song Jianpain, I am not an uneducated housewife, I have also studied hard for more than 10 years. Song Jianpain said, "How many times have you said this? Can you?" Dang Dang said, "Mom and Dad, I drink." Everyone who is a child can't see their parents quarrel, so the child picked up the milk and drank it bite. Song Jianpain said, "Isn't this unreasonable?" Lin Xiaofeng said, "Who is unreasonable?" Song Jianpain said, "You, I didn't say anything." Lin Xiaofeng said, "Then what do you say?" Just when the two were arguing, Song Jianpain said, "What's wrong with letting him drink milk?" Dang dang. Lao Song hurriedly rushed over to pick up his son. Look at the almost crazy wife again. And Lin Xiaofeng looked at the father and son who left, and fell silent. Early the next morning, while sending the children to school, Xiaofeng met his neighbor Xiaoli again. Nyo said, "Hello auntie." "Hello auntie." It should be said, it should be good, it should be faster. Xiaoli was instantly stunned. When they met yesterday, Lin Xiaofeng also took the initiative to say hello to himself, which was very enthusiastic. However, just one day later, the neighbor changed this attitude again. This speed of face change is simply unguardable. Nyo said, "Mom, why did my aunt ignore me again?" Although the two had conflicts before, Xiaoli was very sensible. Xiaoli said, "Auntie must have encountered something unhappy." Nyo said, "Then why did he treat me badly?" Xiaoli said, "It's not that he's bad to you, but he's unhappy in his heart and doesn't feel like being good to others." Oh, on the other side, Zhuanzi discovered Lao Song's abnormality as soon as she came to the office. Zhuanzi said, "I haven't seen you for a day, why are you a few years old?" Looking at Lao Song's listless appearance, Zhuanzi knew that he and Lin Xiaofeng had quarreled again. Zhuanzi said, "I really can't get through it, forget it. Leaving is good for both of them." Since she divorced Lu Dongdong, the two have become good friends, and Lu Dongdong's renting and moving is busy. However, at this time, Lao Song was depressed because of last night's incident. At this time, Zhuanzi's chatter made him even more headed. Song Jianpain said, "Zhuanzi, do you have anything else? If you're okay. If it's okay, leave it alone." Zhuanzi said, "I don't know what to do." Lao Song sighed and said, "Hey, Zhuanzi's words are not unreasonable. Endless quarrels and depression have exhausted him. The reason why there is today's situation is because Lu Dongbei discovered the online dating plan is out of control. He was horrified to find that Lin Xiaofeng had sent 80 emails without going online for a day, and each email told his lovesickness. Even if Lu Dongbei claims to be a master of love, it can be said that he has lived in a kaleidoscope of flowers. Not a single leaf touched his body, but at this moment he still felt his scalp tingling. So he deleted all the emails without thinking, trying to draw a clear line with the crazy woman. On this day, Lu Dongbei found Lao Song because he couldn't hold on any longer. Lu Dongbei said, "Lin Xiaofeng's madness has made him unacceptable. Once a middle-aged woman falls in love, she can scare you to death. 49 letters a week, and the envelopes are more than 1,000 words. She has time, and I don't have time to spend with her. I'm so annoyed now, really." Seeing that he was going to be a good brother, Lao Song hurriedly begged him to persevere. Song Jianpain said, "I can do whatever I want, but I can't stand it. You don't know what she looks like when she makes a fuss." But Lu Dongbei was really unwilling to take over because he really had enough of Lin Xiaofeng. So he handed the number to Lao Song and asked Lao Song to talk about it himself. On the other side, Lin Xiaofeng, as usual, checked the computer as soon as he got home. To her surprise, she finally saw the reply this time. Lu Dongbei said, "The peach blossoms are in full bloom. Recently, I fell seriously ill. I was afraid that you would worry, so I didn't dare to tell you." Seeing the information, Lin Xiaofeng instantly felt like a spring breeze, and a smile finally appeared on his face that had been gloomy for a long time. So she turned around and went to her son's room. Lin Xiaofeng said, "Dang dang, what do you want to eat at night?" But when I saw my mother's appearance, I was instantly unconfident. Is this woman with a big smile really her own mother? But Lin Xiaofeng would never have thought that the netizen who was chatting with her on the opposite side at this time was her husband Song Jianpain. Lin Xiaofeng said, "In the days without you, my life suddenly fell into darkness. I have made countless guesses, and I have thought that you are sick, but I also think that you should tell me when you are sick, and I will definitely take care of you." And when Song Jianping saw Lin Xiaofeng's words, his heart suddenly had mixed feelings. Song Jianping said, "You left your children and husband to take care of another man." Care? How do you take care of me? Early the next morning, Lin Xiaofeng met Xiaoli again. Lin Xiaofeng said, "If you rub your mother again, you should be late. Xiaoli, you go, I'll send Niu, you go to work for you." Looking at Lin Xiaofeng, who was so enthusiastic in front of her, Xiaoli was stunned again. This face change speed is faster than turning a book. In the afternoon, Xiaoli met Lao Song by chance and expressed her doubts. Xiaoli said, "What's going on with your Lin Xiaofeng?" "So what's going on?" His face changed as he spoke, without any regularity. "There was a storm just now, but it suddenly became sunny, and the sun is shining brightly." But Song Jianping has long understood all this, and he knows why his wife's mood has changed so much. Song Jianping said, "Xiaoli, have you ever experienced the mood of your husband when he is in love with another woman?" "I'm experiencing it now." Xiaoli looked stunned, but Lao Song was noncommittal. The next day, after careful consideration, Lao Song finally made that decision. Song Jianping said, "Find me Lawyer Gao." Lawyer Gao said, "I would like to consult you about divorce." The lawyer's words were like a blow to the head, which made Lao Song's heart half cold. The lawyer said, "When people reach middle age, men are thriving, and women are getting worse. Coupled with biological reasons, middle-aged men are like flowers. Middle-aged women tofu dregs. Therefore, they will never give up on marriage, because they have nothing at this time. So they will do everything in their power to defend their little." Lao Song was a little confused and said, "Can't this marriage be divorced?" But the lawyer's next words made Song Jianping break out in a cold sweat. The lawyer said, "Some killed men, some killed children, and killed children to take revenge on men. There are also those who kill men and children together and then commit suicide themselves." Lao Song was frightened. "Go to the ball, this marriage can't be separated, it can't be separated at all." According to Lin Xiaofeng's temperament, it was not that she couldn't do such a terrible thing. The lawyer then analyzed for him, "In the current situation, the child is still young. According to your respective circumstances, if you go to court, it's easy to make people sympathize with a woman, which will be very bad for you. If you really have to divorce, you can terminate the marriage contract according to the regulations if you live separately for more than 2 years." Lao Song instantly seemed to have grasped the life-saving straw, and he said that he and his wife, "It's been a long time since we've lived together." The lawyer said, "What about the evidence? As long as the woman insists that there is still sex between you." Lao Song instantly had a big head, but suddenly thought of a point. Song Jianping said, "What if she has an affair?" The lawyer said, "Hey, this is easier to do. But this also requires evidence." Song Jianping said, "I have this evidence." After this incident, Lao Song began to collect evidence. He printed out all the contents of his wife's previous chat with Bing Linking so that he could use it as evidence later. After returning home that day, Song Jianping was horrified to find that Lin Xiaofeng was humming a song in the kitchen. "It looks like it's in a very good mood." He couldn't remember how long it had been since his wife had done this to him. But at the same time, in his opinion, this is Lin Xiaofeng has fallen in love with another man, which is also her betrayal of me. The next day, Lao Song handed over the collected materials to the lawyer, but after reading it, the lawyer said, "This is an affair, but it cannot be used as evidence. How can you prove that she wrote the letter and not someone else? She wrote this, she should admit it, right? This is something on the internet, it's not true, and she can completely refuse to admit it." Lao Song wilted instantly. He wanted a divorce, but now it seems that things are not so easy. The next day, Lao Song found Lu Dongbei to discuss countermeasures. Lu Dongbei said, "Directly ask her out on the internet. As long as Lin Xiaofeng goes to the appointment, it will confirm the evidence of her cheating. At that time, you can get a justifiable divorce." But the two never expected that when Lu Dongbei proposed an invitation to meet, Lin Xiaofeng refused. This brought things to an impasse. And at this moment, Zhuanzi came to Lao Song. When he saw Lu Dongbei was also there, so he invited him to dinner at home and made dumplings by himself at night. Unexpectedly, Lu Dongbei refused. Although the two divorced, Zhuanzi still had illusions about Lu Dongbei and still couldn't let go of her previous feelings. Seeing Zhuanzi leave disappointed, Lao Song was very puzzled, but Lu Dongbei said that he deliberately rejected Zhuanzi. Lu Dongbei said, "In your words, you can't give her hope anymore, and you can't mislead her. Zhuanzi is a good girl, a good girl. The standard of a good girl is to put self-esteem first." The relationship between the two has come to this point. Lao Song could only shake his head helplessly. On the other side, although Lin Xiaofeng rejected the invitation to come to the city, she still did not let go of her heart. While playing with her son that day, the pay phone next to her caught her attention, so she hurried home and sent an invitation to Binglin City. Song Jianping was taken aback. He didn't expect his wife to take the initiative to send a call invitation to another man. But he still wrote down the number, and he also wanted to test whether Lin Xiaofeng would take that step. At this time, Lin Xiaofeng was already waiting next to the public phone. At this point, there is no turning back. Lao Song hesitated for a few seconds, but still dialed the phone. And Lin Xiaofeng heard the bell, thought for a second, and went over to pick it up. Lin Xiaofeng said, "Hello. Hey, are you a soldier coming to the city?" Finally, I heard Lin Xiaofeng's voice. Song Jianping did not make a sound, but hung up the phone silently. If Lin Xiaofeng was just chatting online before, then in Song Jianping's view at this time, Lin Xiaofeng had completely betrayed himself. So Lao Song found a lawyer again and explained the situation. But the lawyer's words were like pouring cold water on the head. The lawyer said, "This makes all the facts against you. You see, if you make a fortune and distance yourself from your wife, you will get divorced. This is in the eyes of outsiders. This is the trajectory of Chen Shimi's development." Song Jianping said, "This is not a thing." The lawyer said, I know, the key is that you have to let others know too." The lawyer proposed that Song Jianping talk to his wife and beg her to let him go. But Song Jianping knew Lin Xiaofeng and wanted her to let him go. That's easier said than done. But now Song Jianping has made up his mind to divorce, so there is only one way to go. So he found the hospital leader and took the initiative to apply for a transfer to Tibet. The leader said, determined to do so. Tell me the truth, why do you have to go?" According to hospital regulations, after 3 years in Tibet, you can justifiably become a partner of the hospital. Let's talk about economic income. Come on, you haven't reached the state of loving money like your life at all. I know why, you are to get rid of Lin Xiaofeng, for divorce. Was told by Juanzi that Lao Song was a little surprised. Song Jianping said, "Can you not be smart? Can you learn to ignore other people's affairs?" Juanzi looked at Lao Song, who was a little angry, and didn't dare to say a word. But an inexplicable emotion has quietly sprouted in Juanzi's heart at this time. The next day, Lao Song met Lu Dongbei by chance, and Lu Dongbei had decided to marry his new girlfriend and asked Lao Song to hide it from Juanzi. On the way home, Lao Song held his son and met a pair of young people who were taking wedding photos. This made Lao Song extremely emotional. In the past, he and Lin Xiaofeng were like these newcomers, loving each other. But who would have thought that after more than 10 years of marriage, the marriage between the two is already a chicken feather? He couldn't help but ask his son. Song Jianping said, "Dang dang. Ah. Do you know how to divorce?" Dang dang said, "I understand." Song Jianping said, "You know how to divorce, talk about it." Dang dang said, "Divorce means that the child has no father." Haha, can you do it if you don't have a father? Okay. Is it really possible? I don't follow you, I am with grandma. Ah, what if I get divorced? Not with you, I with grandma. Song Jianping said, "How good you and my father are to you." Dang dang said, "Dad is not good to me at all. Happy wedding. Thanks." The next day, Juanzi went to Lao Song's house as a guest. I don't know if it was intentional or not, she talked about herself and Lu Dongdong. Since the two divorced, they have become good friends. Without the shackles of marriage, the relationship between the two is better than before, and they can talk about everything. You can also share each other's secrets. But Lin Xiaofeng could see that Juanzi was doing some of her own to assist Lao Song. After the meal, Juanzi said that she leaked her mouth again while chatting. Juanzi said, "Have you reconciled with Lao Song?" Lin Xiaofeng said, "What is good and not, live a life." Juanzi said, "You too." Still persevered. Cut. That time, Lao Song said he was going to Tibet, and I thought you two wouldn't be able to do it. Juanzi's words were like a bombshell, making Lin Xiaofeng's heart unable to calm down for a long time. Lin Xiaofeng said, "That time?" "Ah." "Which time?" "Ah." "You don't know." "I'm sorry, I don't know the specific situation either." Juanzi was still prevaricating perfunctorily. But Lin Xiaofeng knew that her husband Song Jianping had something big to hide from him. In the evening, Lao Song chatted with the peach blossoms on the internet as always, but he suddenly discovered the secret of his going to Tibet has been known by Lin Xiaofeng. Lin Xiaofeng said, "I heard that he is going to Tibet for 3 years. Please help me analyze, as a man, what is his ultimate purpose in doing this?" Lao Song panicked instantly, he hurriedly called Lu Dongdong, but Lu Dongbei didn't know anything about this. Now it seems that things can't be hidden. On this day, Lao Song finally made a decision. Song Jianping said, "Xiao Feng, I wrote something for you to see." Lin Xiaofeng looked at the divorce agreement in front of him, and instantly wanted to die. As soon as the woman arrived at the night scene, she discovered a horrifying scene. The boss, who has always been personable and elegant, actually ran to jump around alone. I saw that he was as if no one was around, twisting his slightly clumsy body frantically. Even if he had already sweated like rain, he completely ignored it. Zhuanzi burst into tears instantly, from shock at the beginning to pity. She knew Song Jianping and his wife Lin Xiaofeng better. Why is the marriage so unfortunate for an honest and good man like Song Jianping? What kind of pressure did you endure to choose to vent in this way? What does marriage bring us? Just yesterday, Song Jianping thought it through. He has officially decided to divorce Lin Xiaofeng. But the moment Lin Xiaofeng took over the divorce agreement, he tore it to pieces without thinking. She wouldn't just let Song Jianping go, she decided to fight to the end. However, Song Jianping was completely disappointed in this marriage. Lin Xiaofeng's sensitivity, suspicion, and hysteria have exhausted him, especially his wife's sentence, "I hate him," which makes Lao Song feel like ashes. Every day after get off work, Song Jianping would even prefer to sit in the cold wind for a few hours rather than go home to face Lin Xiaofeng. On this day, Zhuanzi knew that Lao Song was in a bad mood, so she invited him to her home for a party. Song Jianping, who is middle-aged, seems a little out of place among this group of young handsome men and beauties. During this period, female colleagues coaxed Lao Song to tell a joke, but what everyone didn't expect was that the vice president, who has always been unsmiling, only used a simple short story to make everyone laugh. Lin Xiaofeng was right at the beginning. Song Jianping is not only elegant and personable, but also humorous, and he is a very charming man. At this time, colleagues proposed to let Lao Song dance to cheer up. But Lao Song said that he was old and couldn't dance. But these female colleagues are reluctant. My colleague said, "You are still mostly young. What's the old age? The older a man gets, the more attractive he becomes." Oh what, coax? The face is red. Who blushed? Hey. Just when everyone was coaxing, Zhuanzi's phone rang suddenly. It turned out that Lao Song did not come home late at night, and Lin Xiaofeng called to check on the post again. Zhuanzi said, "Hey, Sister Xiaofeng." Lin Xiaofeng said, "I'm playing with a group of friends, Lao Song." Seeing Lao Song's panicked appearance, Zhuanzi couldn't bear it. Zhuanzi said, "Lao Song seems to be working overtime." A lie helped prevaricate. But at night, when Zhuanzi sent Lao Song home, she was discovered by Lin Xiaofeng. Zhuanzi said, "Bye-bye." Song Jianping said, "Bye-bye, mobile." It was this unintentional move that planted the seeds of doubt in Lin Xiaofeng's heart. What everyone didn't expect was that it was this small misunderstanding that would make everything completely out of control. The next day, Zhuanzi went to Lu Dongdong's house to pick up the wrong courier, but I found that I couldn't open the door. It turned out that since the two divorced, Lu Dongbei changed the lock. She was just about to call Lu Dongbei to question her, but at this moment, the door opened and a bewitching woman came out of the house. Zhuanzi was instantly stunned. She thought Lu Dongbei had brought another woman home again. But then, she discovered a horrific scene. When the woman went to her ex-husband's house, she found a horrified scene. Her ex-husband, who had just divorced her for a month, turned around and married another woman. Looking at the wedding photos of the two, Zhuanzi couldn't believe her eyes. Because not long ago, when the two got their divorce certificates, they told each other that even if they divorced, they were still good friends, and until one of them got married again, it was equivalent to a complete breakup. But now it is, Zhuanzi couldn't face this reality, so she immediately called Lao Song. Because in her opinion, Lu Dongdong, as Lao Song's young, must know about his remarriage. Zhuanzi said, "Lao Song, I have something to look for you." Song Jianping said, "What's the matter, it's so late." Zhuanzi said, "You have to come over." Song Jianping said, "Tomorrow, okay." Zhuanzi said, immediately. After knowing each other for so long, Lao Song had never seen Zhuanzi lose his temper like this, so he could only reluctantly agree. But on his wife Lin Xiaofeng's side, Lao Song was worried that she would think too much, so he lied that there was an operation in the hospital that needed to work overtime, and then hurried out. But since the last time Lin Xiaofeng found out that Zhuanzi was sending Lao Song home in the middle of the night, the seeds of doubt have been planted in Lin Xiaofeng's heart. Regardless of whether that woman is Zhuanzi or not, Lao Song must have had a situation outside. Such a good plot must be watched with a good device. Recently I found that the second-hand mobile phone on Juanjuan is quite cost-effective. My Huawei Mate 40 Pro is only 2004, which is more than 2,000 cheaper than the new machine. And I have helped you research, and the mobile phones that have been officially inspected have undergone multiple rounds of quality inspection. It comes with a 1-year warranty like a new machine. The iPad mini 6 above is also only 2005. I sincerely recommend it, buy a reliable second-hand one. So she hurriedly followed out, she wanted to verify it for herself. Who is the woman whose husband had a tryst in the middle of the night? Soon Lao Song rushed to Juanzi's side. At this time, it was already pouring rain in the sky, but Juanzi ignored it completely and let the rain wet her whole body. She asked Lao Song loudly if he knew about Lu Dongdong's marriage. Lao Song was speechless for a moment and didn't know how to answer. Because not long ago, Lao Song and Lin Xiaofeng did participate in Lu Dongdong's second wedding, and even promised Lu Dongbei to hide Juanzi for him. But now seeing Juanzi's appearance, Lao Song couldn't bear it and could only nod his head in acknowledgement. Juanzi said, "Why don't you tell me if you know?" Song Jianpain said, "I am doing this for your own good. Lao Song, we are friends and colleagues, I trust you so much. You are a liar, just like Lu Dongdong." Lao Song also wanted to persuade her, but Juanzi's emotions had collapsed at this time. She couldn't accept that Lu Dongbei had abandoned herself and chose to remarry. Juanzi said, I'm stupid. I'm really stupid. I'm stupid. Song Jianpain said, "Calm down. Juanzi said, "Get out." Juanzi suddenly lost control, and Lao Song hurriedly chased after him. He just wanted to block the rain for Juanzi, but he didn't expect that the scene of the two pulling was in full view of Lin Xiaofeng, who was rushed over. Lao Songjing pulled hard, and finally controlled the crazy Juanzi and stuffed her into the car. But such an intimate move between the two, in Lin Xiaofeng's eyes, is to confirm that Lao Song has betrayed him. She was unwilling, she wanted to ask for an explanation for herself, so he followed closely. When Lao Song escorted Juanzi home, Juanzi's mood had calmed down. Juanzi said, "I'm really sorry for you today, I made you wronged." Song Jianpain said, "It's okay." Juanzi said, "I really can't control myself." Song Jianpain said, "It's okay, hurry up." Juanzi said, "How good it would be if Lu Dongbei was like you." Song Jianpain said, "Juanzi, in fact, I am not a good husband." Juanzi said, "The past is over, but I can't get through. I thought that divorce was not a breakup, and the marriage of the other party was the real breakup. I have no illusions between me and the Northeast." Lao Song was not good at expressing himself. Looking at Juanzi's sad appearance, he really didn't know how to comfort her, so he could only urge her to go home quickly. And seeing that Lao Song was ruined like this, she still wanted to say something, but Lao Song just waved his hand, urged her to go home quickly. It wasn't until he watched Juanzi go upstairs that Lao Song felt relieved. Although he suffered a little sin, fortunately, everything was safe. But as soon as he walked out the door, he found a terrifying scene. At this time, Lin Xiaofeng was like a ghost. Already, Lao Song was instantly frightened to pee. He knew that this scene in front of him was afraid that something big was going to happen. Lin Xiaofeng was expressionless and walked towards Lao Song step by step. But when she walked up to Lao Song, she didn't say anything, but went to Juanzi to settle the score. Lao Song wanted to stop it, but Lin Xiaofeng is already hysterical. The girlfriend actually got together with her husband, which made Lin Xiaofeng unbearable. Song Jianpain said, Xiaofeng. 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 What's wrong with you? Xiaofeng. Xiaofeng. Zhang Sini. Lao Song picked up his glasses in embarrassment, and he wanted to step forward to help his injured wife. But at this time, Lin Xiaofeng was full of hatred for Song Jianpain and refused to let him touch him at all. Lao Song looked at the departing Xiaofeng helplessly. He knew that no matter what he explained at this time, it was all in vain for Lin Xiaofeng. And Lin Xiaofeng covered his wound and moved his steps with difficulty. The pain of the wound was far less than the heartache she felt at this time. She stared at Song Jianpain viciously, as if the man in front of her was not her husband, but a sworn enemy. Looking at his departing wife, Lao Song was helpless. He couldn't figure out how things had developed to such a point. The next day, Lin Xiaofeng felt unbearable pain in his buttocks, so he had to ask his son to help check it. But the son was surprised after seeing it. Dang Dang said, "Ah. Mom, why is your half pulling as purple? Doesn't it hurt?" Lin Xiaofeng didn't speak. Song Jianping's cheating hit her deeply, and the pain in her body at this time was far less than the pain in her heart. She could only hold her son helplessly and secretly sad. Then when I went to the hospital for a checkup, Lin Xiaofeng found out that the fall last night caused a fracture of the tailbone. She looked at the report sheet and was stunned. She couldn't believe that Lao Song would do something to her because of another woman. The next day, Lin Xiaofeng took his son to pick up his younger brother who was discharged from the army. At the exit, Lin Xiaofeng wanted to take a taxi home, but his brother was very puzzled and said, "I obviously have a car, why do I have to take a taxi?" Dang Dang said, "Mom can't drive the car anymore, her butt is broken." Dang Dang's answer made Xiaofeng's brother very confused. Xiaofeng still wanted to cover it up, but Dang Dang's words made his brother instantly furious. Dang Dang said, "Dad hit it." Lin Xiaofeng said, "Don't talk nonsense." Dang Dang said, "It's not nonsense, it's my father who beat me, my mother said it, my mother said." After the family arrived home, Lin Xiaofeng was preparing dinner, but suddenly found that his brother was missing. Dang Dang said, "My uncle went out, and he said that he would have a good chat after eating. I was anxious and didn't know what to do." The words of his son and his mother made Lin Xiaofeng break out in a cold sweat instantly. She hurriedly changed her clothes and rushed home. She knew her brother's temper and might do something. On the other side, as soon as Song Jianping arrived home from get off work, he was blocked in the corridor by his brother-in-law. The brother-in-law didn't say a word, pulled the collar and dragged Lao Song home. My brother-in-law said, "Do you remember what I told you last time at the train station?" "Brother-in-law, only this time, if there is a second time, I will never forgive." Song Jianping said, "I didn't mean to." The brother-in-law said, "I know you didn't mean to, if you did it on purpose, I won't talk to you here." Lao Song was frightened, and he hurriedly explained that it was just an accident. "But my nephew's words are very clear, my sister's injury was hit by this shameless man." At this time, he was already on top. "Where are you willing to listen to Lao Song's explanation?" The brother-in-law said, "Have you learned to beat women? If you are still a man, you fight with men, fight with me, and come at me." What are you doing? You have to listen to me. I didn't come today to listen to you, I asked you to fight. Go fight. 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 Don't fight, right? Give you a chance, you don't want it, right? Who are you scaring? You have no chance at all. Lao Song is a scholar, where have he encountered this kind of scene? Looking at the fierce brother-in-law in front of him, Lao Song was so frightened that he was overwhelmed. The sound of the countdown sounded more like a life reminder. My brother-in-law said, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Xiaojuan, don't mess around. Lin Xiaofeng said, "What are you doing here? What are you doing? It's none of your business, it's our two men's business." Lin Xiaofeng desperately stood in front of Lao Song. She knew that this younger brother had been a soldier for many years. Anything can be done. But the younger brother can't listen to anything now, he just wants to beat this man violently and establish his power for his sister. Xiaojuan said, "A sister? Xiaojuan, listen to me. Listen to me. Don't listen. Whoever says I won't listen. Xiaojuan. Get up. Little army. Get up. Little army." Xiaojuan said, "Sister, why did you hit me?" Lin Xiaofeng said, "I hit you." Lin Xiaofeng slapped his brother hard, and finally made him sober. Because Lin Xiaofeng knew what his brother's two punches meant to his already shattered marriage. But up to now, things are irreparable. And Song Jianping was originally a scholar, and he was punched by his brother-in-law twice, and he couldn't get up on the ground for a long time. Lin Xiaofeng said, "Let's go." Xiaojuan said, "You can't spare him like this." In order to vent his anger on his sister, the brother-in-law beat his brother-in-law. But he didn't expect that his heavy punch would make the already precarious marriage between Song Jianping and Lin Xiaofeng completely on the verge of collapse. Until the next day, when Song Dang was in school, he realized the seriousness of the matter. Dang Dang said, "Uncle, you don't know, I haven't told you about this, and they haven't let me tell my grandma." My brother-in-law said, "What's the matter, Dang Dang?" Dang Dang said, "They all stopped talking." Hey, it's better than fighting, they're afraid of quarreling. Parental quarrels are very harmful to children, and I hope all parents can keep this in mind. In the evening, Xiaofeng's mother celebrated her birthday, and the whole family arrived, but Song Jianping was the only one missing. The mother-in-law wanted to call Lao Song, but Lin Xiaofeng used Lao Song as an excuse, prevaricated. But without anyone, it cannot be called a complete home. The old lady still called Lao Song herself. But now the couple has come to this point, Lao Song could only use the excuse that he was not feeling well. In the evening, Xiaofeng's father gave Xiaofeng's mother a red coat as a birthday present, and danced happily. They have been married for decades and are still so affectionate. Lin Xiaofeng looked at this scene. Thinking about my broken marriage again, I felt endless emotion in my heart. The next day, Lin Xiaofeng was horrified to find that his brother was missing again. She hurriedly asked her son. Lin Xiaofeng said, "I asked him to talk to his father." "What did you ask him to talk to his father?" "I asked him to tell his father that he would never fight with you again." Lin Xiaofeng was speechless for a moment and didn't know what to say. But she was afraid that her impulsive brother would be violent to Lao Song again, so she hurried home. On the other side, just as Lao Song was about to go out, he found his brother-in-law at the door, and he was immediately frightened. "But I didn't expect my brother-in-law to be today. The attitude has changed 720 degrees. Song Jianping said, "What are you talking about?" The brother-in-law said, "Talk about you and my sister." The brother-in-law begged Lao Song not to divorce for the sake of the child. But Lao Song refused. At this point, he didn't want to back down any longer. Now the two have no basis for living together. In addition to suspicion, it is to hurt each other. If this continues, it will not be good for both parties, even the elderly and children. My brother-in-law said, "She wants to divorce me for 2 reasons. One is emotionally, I know she hates me. On the other hand, economically. I thought about this, if she can divorce me, I will leave the house, and I will share half of all the income with her in the future. Is this okay?" When the brother-in-law heard what his brother-in-law said, he knew that Lao Song was determined to divorce. But immediately afterwards, he actually made such a request. The brother-in-law said, "Dang can't give it to you." Song Jianping said. Lao Song was instantly confused and said, "That's my son." "How old are you?" "You dream." The brother-in-law said, "I only have this one condition, and I can't give it to you." Song Jianping said, "Don't talk to me. Everything else can be discussed. Only this matter is not negotiable." Fart. Little rabbit, he turned against you. Don't threaten me. In any case, things have come to this point, and I want to ask you to persuade her well for our happiness. Seeing that the discussion was fruitless, the brother-in-law wanted to get up and leave. But he happened to bump into Lin Xiaofeng, who was coming. She hurried into the house and saw that Lao Song was not beaten, so she felt relieved. But immediately afterwards, she found Lao Song's packed luggage. Lin Xiaofeng said, "Where are you going?" Song Jianping said, "Tibet." You know, it seems that Lao Song is determined to divorce. This made Lin Xiaofeng furious. Thus, the strife began. Lin Xiaofeng said, "Is he already impatient?" "Ah. Speak." Looking at Lin Xiaofeng's eyes staring like copper bells, Lao Song was unusually calm at the moment. These unfounded speculations did not drive him crazy. Song Jianping said, "Zhuanzi and I really have nothing to do." Lin Xiaofeng said, "Nothing at all." Song Jianping said, "Tell me, why is it called something? You say that in a situation like ours, it means that there is no such thing. Can we still live together? Our situation. Which situation do we have? We have been in this situation for a long time, why are you bringing it up now? It's not too late to bring it up. It's late. Because you've already let me grab the handle. Grab the handle that you have an affair. So I tell you, Song Jianping, as long as I don't agree, you don't want to divorce, you don't want to be satisfied. Lin Xiaofeng, let me tell you again, I didn't have an affair. There you have. What about the evidence? Lin Xiaofeng was speechless, he could only stare at his big eyes like bronze bells, staring at Lao Song fiercely. What kind of marital love is already gone at this moment? Then he turned and left. And looking at Lin Xiaofeng who left, Song Jianping's eyes were full of helplessness. Such suspicions and accusations have kept him suppressed for too long. On the other side, Lin Xiaofeng knew that her marriage was completely irretrievable, and her eyes were full of unwillingness and anger. He has paid so much for this family, but Song Jianping wants to abandon himself because he has another woman. The younger brother said, "Sister, isn't it good for us to leave him?" Song Jianping, "When the time comes, you will come home to live." Lin Xiaofeng said, "I won't leave." The younger brother said, "Why have you become so unambitious?" Lin Xiaofeng said, "Do you think I'm the kind of woman who drags a man along? I just don't want to be reconciled. Then if Song Jianping really doesn't like me, the key is that he is because of other women. I just want everyone to see what Song Jianping is. Don't let everyone think that this divorce is caused by me." Lin Xiaofeng decided that her husband had another woman, and she would not let Song Jianping go so easily, and she decided to fight him to the end. The next day, Lin Xiaofeng found a lawyer and wanted to prevent Lao Song from going to Tibet. But the lawyer said, "This is normal work and cannot be stopped." Lin Xiaofeng said, "He has an affair." The lawyer said, if you have evidence, maybe his boss may prevent him from working. The lawyer's words are like enlightenment. Lin Xiaofeng was annoyed. She regretted why she didn't bring a camera last time, so she could take evidence of Lao Song's cheating. Evidence will be found. The next day, when Lin Xiaofeng went to the hospital for a review, he lied that he was not sleeping well and asked the doctor to prescribe a bottle of Valium. Because she is at this time, a terrible plan is brewing. When the men went to work, he found a horror scene, and his beautiful colleague actually wrapped himself into rice dumplings and did not dare to see anyone. Song Jianping said, it seems to be a little swollen here. Zhuanzi said, he is fighting this way. Song Jianping said, who beat you? Zhuanzi said, your wife Lin Xiaofeng. Men simply can't believe their ears. But Zhuanzi still vented her dissatisfaction. Zhuanzi said, running to my house in the middle of the night, inexplicable, simply crazy and neurotic. Even if he saved me, I wouldn't be grateful to him. Looking at Zhuanzi who snatched the door, Song Jianping was completely stunned. He never imagined that his wife Lin Xiaofeng would be so crazy. It's crazy. It turned out that just yesterday, Lao Song was busy for more than 10 hours because of an operation. But Lin Xiaofeng went home at 1 o'clock in the morning to check the post, just because he saw that Lao Song was not at home. I suspected that he and his best friend Zhuanzi were going to tutor English. So Lin Xiaofeng rushed to Zhuanzi's house in a hurry, wanting to catch the two of them in bed. Just as she sneaked to the door, she heard an indescribable sound coming from the room. Lin Xiaofeng was suddenly furious. In the room at this time, Zhuanzi's male netizens were plotting against her. Just when Zhuanzi struggled to break free from the clutches and open the door, thinking that she was saved, Lin Xiaofeng was looking for Song Jianping all over the room. Looking at the back of the men who jumped out of the window and fled, Lin Xiaofeng was furious and vented all his grievances on Zhuanzi. Then she rushed home. And Song Jianping was busy with the operation, and he was fragrant, suddenly startled. Song Jianping said, what are you doing in the middle of the night? Lin Xiaofeng said, let me see if you are injured. Injured? What injuries? Song Jianping, who is good enough, is in his 40s, and his skills are still so vigorous. Coming down from such a high building, there was nothing at all. Lao Song was instantly confused. He couldn't understand what Lin Xiaofeng was crazy about in the middle of the night. Song Jianping said, what is this mess about? You don't know. You don't know. Load it up for me. Someday I'll let you know what's going on. Hey, crazy. And the next day, Zhuanzi's vent finally made Song Jianping understand everything. He suddenly felt like he was sitting on pins and needles. Thinking of what Lin Xiaofeng had done, Song Jianping only felt a burst of creepy. Just because he suspected that he was having an affair, he ran to his colleague's house in the middle of the night to beat someone. Lin Xiaofeng's approach is beyond his understanding. On the other side, Lin Xiaofeng did not stop his crazy actions. In order to further obtain evidence of Song Jianping's cheating, she actually spent a huge amount of money to buy a voice recorder. And before Lao Song got off work, the recorder was stuffed into the crack of the sofa. After Lao Song came back, Lin Xiaofeng changed his previous attitude and wanted to talk to Lao Song. Lao Song was not on guard at all, but he didn't know that Lin Xiaofeng was setting him up step by step. Lin Xiaofeng said, in the past, there were many things I did misunderstand you, and please forgive me. But that night in the rain, it was true that you were holding Zhuanzi. Song Jianping said, it's true, I hugged her. Lin Xiaofeng said, why? Song Jianping said, Lu Dongbei didn't tell her when he got married, and I also hid it from him. She was angry and scolded me. And then it rained so heavily. She ran into the rain. I wanted to carry her back and send her home, that's it. It's the kind of revenge you imagine. Lin Xiaofeng was very unwilling to see that he did not get the evidence he wanted, so he brought up what happened last night. Lin Xiaofeng said, what did you do on the night of the 23rd? Song Jianping said, there was a major operation on the night of the 23rd. Lin Xiaofeng said, what time is it? Song Jianping said, 2 o'clock. Lin Xiaofeng said, have you been operating all the time? Song Jianping said, that's not true, I went out for a walk after the operation. Lin Xiaofeng said, who can prove it? Song Jianping said, it depends on what you think. Lin Xiaofeng said, let me tell you Song Jianping, I will go home at 1 o'clock in the evening on the 23rd, and you are not there. Song Jianping said, I told you, I will be back at 2 o'clock. Lin Xiaofeng said, then I went to Zhuanzi's place. I looked outside and saw that the lights in the house were still on, and I knew there were people inside. Then the lights went out and I went upstairs. Song Jianping said, what then? Lin Xiaofeng said, then you still want me to say? Do you have to let me block you in the bed to make you happy? Song Jianping said, Lin Xiaofeng, are you going too far? I think you're kicking your nose on your face. You actually went to my colleague's house now. Do you dare to hit someone? Let me tell you, Juanzi can sue you. You are breaking the law. Lin Xiaofeng said, you let her sue. You sue you. Song Jianping said, I dare, he has to dare. Lin Xiaofeng said, what does he admit? Song Jianping said, the relationship between the two of you. Lin Xiaofeng said, what is the relationship? Song Jianping said, abnormal relationship between men and women. Lin Xiaofeng said, what about the evidence? What about the evidence? What about the evidence? Take it out. Looking at Song Jianping who was leaving, Lin Xiaofeng was completely speechless. Evidence, she really didn't. She put away the recorder, then found her brother and played the recording. But the younger brother listened to this, but thought that these could not be used as evidence of Lao Song's cheating. The younger brother said, he is vigilant enough, just the two of us, he refused to tell the truth. In Lin Xiaofeng's view, although there is no evidence, Lao Song's cheating is a certainty. However, Lao Song was about to leave for Tibet, and he had to take action before he left to disgrace him. So the next day, Lin Xiaofeng rushed to Lao Song's hospital. And Juanzi happened to see this scene. Seeing Lin Xiaofeng's fierce appearance, Juanzi knew that something would definitely happen, so she hurriedly told Lao Song the news. After hearing this, Lao Song was instantly stunned. Lin Xiaofeng came to the hospital to make trouble. On the other hand, Lin Xiaofeng had already told the hospital leaders about Song Jianping's cheating. Lin Xiaofeng said, so I suggest you don't let Song Jianping go to Tibet to work. This operation made Lin Xiaofeng think that he had a chance to win, but she didn't expect that the hospital leaders trusted Lao Song's character very much and informed the security guards that outsiders were not allowed to enter during working hours. In the evening, Lao Song came to Lin Xiaofeng. But Lin Xiaofeng thought that his plan had succeeded, and Lao Song was here to lose his temper with him. But she never expected that things would not go the way she expected. Song Jianping said, I want to officially inform you that you should not come to my unit to make trouble in the future. Lin Xiaofeng said, did your boss talk to you? Song Jianping said, don't interfere with my work anymore, okay. Lin Xiaofeng said, why are you going there today? Song Jianping said, then you don't know. Lin Xiaofeng said, what do you mean? Song Jianping said, I will tell you later. Lin Xiaofeng said, you can't go to Tibet, right? Song Jianping said, you are wrong, I set off on time. Lin Xiaofeng said, set off on time. Lin Xiaofeng was desperate. She couldn't just watch Lao Song leave, she wanted to ruin him. So she hatched a terrible plan. The woman prepared the camera and picked up a bottle of Valium. Carefully pour all the tablets into the grinder, vigorously pound them into powder, and finally pour in 2 more glasses of red wine. In revenge for her husband's cheating, the woman decides to carry out a terrible plan. The younger brother on the side couldn't stand it and hurriedly came over to dissuade him. The younger brother said, you are making perjury. This is tantamount to framing. But the woman didn't care about this. Lin Xiaofeng said, this is not to create perjury, it is just to reproduce what they have done. The younger brother said, but what if this kills someone? Lin Xiaofeng said, how could there be a human life? Sleep for a day or 2 at most, and I will fulfill them once. All I have to do is take a picture of them and leave them as a souvenir. Then she called her best friend. Lin Xiaofeng said, I'm sorry Juanzi, I misunderstood you that day. Lin Xiaofeng apologized for her slap that night, because she thought she was in the house with Juanzi that night. The man is her husband Song Jianping. Juanzi said, Lao Song explained it clearly to me. It wasn't until this time that Juanzi understood why she had been forced to do so for no reason. But my girlfriend apologized to herself, what else could she do? It's good if the misunderstanding is resolved. Lin Xiaofeng used Lao Song to go to Tibet soon and invited Juanzi to his home. On the one hand, he made amends for her, and on the other hand, he also sees off Lao Song by the way. The simple Juanzi did not suspect him. But that night was such a big crowd, it really cast a lot of shadow on her young mind. So she came to Lao Song for advice. And Lao Song also believes that although Lin Xiaofeng is grumpy and suspicious, she is still very kind. Juanzi said, actually, I don't think Sister Xiaofeng is bad. Some things are misunderstandings. As soon as he said it, nothing happened. Song Jianping said, this is a superficial phenomenon. Lao Song knew Lin Xiaofeng, and this incident seemed to be a coincidence, an accidental event. But in fact, according to Lin Xiaofeng's personality, this result is inevitable. Between the two of us, we have lost the basic trust between husband and wife. Without this trust, it will not be a misunderstanding or a misunderstanding. There is no such misunderstanding, there will be that kind of misunderstanding. Do you know what it means to make trouble out of nothing? Juanzi disagrees with Lao Song's pessimistic attitude. She believes that judging from Lin Xiaofeng's attitude of apologizing today, she is already trying to change. Now that the misunderstanding has been eliminated, it is not impossible for the two to reconcile. But Lao Song smiled helplessly. Married for 10 years, she has experienced too much of this kind of endless suspicion and accusation, and she has long been physically and mentally exhausted. This is one of his infinite repetitions. That is to say, after this period is good, after a while, she can still return to her old ways. There is no greater sorrow than death in the heart. Hey, this kind of torture is hard for you to understand. Juanzi said, you are a prejudice. Song Jianpain said, there is no wife better than husband. But after Lao Song said this, Juanzi hesitated again. She was afraid that if she went to the dinner party, Lin Xiaofeng would suddenly go crazy again. She didn't want to be slapped again. But Lao Song said, since Lin Xiaofeng invited you, if you don't go. For Lin Xiaofeng, it is a solid fact that you have a ghost in your heart. If you don't go, you'll get into trouble. Juanzi said, what about you? I am satisfied with whatever she mentions now, and I am still husband and wife. For Lao Song, it is absolutely impossible for him to reconcile with Lin Xiaofeng. He just hoped that after the two divorced, they would not become enemies. Soon Juanzi went home with Lao Song. Juanzi also specially brought a handful of lilies, hoping that the two could reconcile as before. And Lin Xiaofeng has already prepared a table of meals. By the way, those 2 glasses of red wine were also served. At this time, Juanzi suddenly picked up the wine glass and wanted to have a drink with Lin Xiaofeng to celebrate the reconciliation of the 2 girlfriends. But Lin Xiaofeng looked at the wine glass in his hand, but he didn't dare to make any moves. Just when Juanzi was about to do it first, Lin Xiaofeng hurriedly stopped. Juanzi said, what's wrong? You drink less than me. Ah, yes. I'm younger than you, I should drink a little more. Come on, change it. Lin Xiaofeng said, hey, Juanzi. Let's eat first. Lin Xiaofeng made an excuse that it was not good to drink on an empty stomach, and finally stopped Juanzi's persuasion. During the banquet, Juanzi ate delicious food, praised Lin Xiaofeng's good skills, and persuaded Lao Song not to go to Tibet. Even if it is for Lin Xiaofeng's good craftsmanship, he has to stay. But Lao Song knew that Juanzi was persuading himself not to divorce. Song Jianpain said, do you think I'm going to play? That's work. Where to go is not work. Do you have to go to Tibet? If you go to Tibet, you can become a partner. But all 3 of them knew that the reason why Lao Song had to go to Tibet was not to be a partner. He doesn't take making money so seriously, he just wants to get a divorce. Song Jianpain said, things are decided, how can they change randomly? Seeing that Lao Song was determined to divorce, Lin Xiaofeng slowly picked up the wine glass. Song Jianpain said, come. Juanzi said, I don't drink. Lin Xiaofeng said, Song Jianpain, today is a special day, drink some. While Lao Song and Juanzi were eating, Lin Xiaofeng came to the kitchen. She secretly took out the medicine in the cabinet and poured all the powder into the shore. It turned out that her conscience stopped her at the last moment and avoided making a big mistake. At this moment, Lu Dongbei came over. He already knew that Juanzi had made a big fuss when he learned that he had remarried. He wanted to talk to Juanzi. But Juanzi didn't want to see him, so she got up and left Lao Song's house. Only Lao Song and Lin Xiaofeng were left speechless. At this time, the 2 of them, the stranger doesn't look like a couple at all. Lin Xiaofeng said, do you have to go? Song Jianpain said, let's go. Seeing that Lao Song had made up his mind, Lin Xiaofeng had to leave helplessly. On the other side, Lu Dongbei actually wanted to reconcile with Juanzi again. Juanzi was instantly speechless and said, you just got married again, and now you are a married man. Lu Dongbei said, Wan, I know what to do. I'll talk to her now. Juanzi said, whether you talk to her or not, that's your business, it has nothing to do with me. Lu Dongbei said, Wan, don't deceive yourself all the time, okay? I know you love me now. Juanzi said, Lu Dong, I now officially inform you that I have fallen in love with someone. Lu Dongbei was dumbfounded on the spot. He wanted to ask Juanzi who that person was, but Juanzi had already given up on him. Juanzi said, it has nothing to do with you. Song Jianpain, who had been busy all day, was cooking. At this moment, the phone rang, and when I heard the news of my son's injury, I was instantly stunned. So he immediately rushed to the hospital. His son's injury made him feel distressed, and he started a fire against Lin Xiaofeng for the first time in 10 years of marriage. Song Jianpain said, how did you do it? Lin Xiaofeng said, I'm sorry, Dang Dang. Song Jianping said, Xiaofeng, what kind of fire do you always throw on your children about adults? Lin Xiaofeng said, I didn't use him to spread fire. Song Jianping said, then how did he get hurt? How did it hurt? Lin Xiaofeng said, he asked me to let him drink milk, he didn't drink it, he kicked the cup to the ground. As soon as I was in a hurry, I pushed him. Song Jianping said, why are you pushing him? Song Jianping knew Lin Xiaofeng very well, she started her temper, and the whole person was in a state of loss of control, so it was not surprising that her son's injury was not surprising. Song Jianping said, is there something wrong with your eyes? Lin Xiaofeng said, I don't know either. Song Jianping was both angry and helpless towards Lin Xiaofeng. At that moment, the door to the emergency room opened. Lin Xiaofeng said, how about Dang Dang? Dang Dang. Dang Dang said, Mom, I didn't cry. Song Jianping said, is his eyes okay? The doctor said, the eye is fine, the skin is injured. Oh, good. 5 stitches were taken. 5 stitches. It's okay, it's okay, it's okay. The little boy didn't cry, he first kissed his mother, then hugged his father, and kissed him hard. Because since Lao Song and Lin Xiaofeng fell out, their family has not been together for a long time. Dang Dang said, Mom, I want to go home, I want to go back to my own home. The child's words left Song Jianping and Lin Xiaofeng speechless. At night, the family lay together, but the warmth of the past is no longer there. Every child wants to have a complete home, but now, their home can be said to be fragmented. The next day, Lin Xiaofeng found Lao Song, and for the sake of the child, she decided to make concessions. Lin Xiaofeng said, I want to talk to you. Ahem, say it. We have been married for almost 10 years, and our children are so old. Some time ago, because the two of us also had a lot of bad influences on Dang Dang. I think the past is not to blame. I forgive you. Lin Xiaofeng's words made Song Jianping break the defense instantly. Song Jianping said, do you forgive me? Haha, what are you forgiving me for? Lin Xiaofeng said, what do I forgive you, you don't know. Song Jianping said, I don't know. Lin Xiaofeng said, if you don't know, you don't know. A rare conversation broke up unhappily. Song Jianping was speechless. Suspicion is just a repeated jump by Lin Xiaofeng. He knew that no matter how he explained it, it was meaningless. Since then, Lao Song has strolled on the road every time he got off work, or went to the beach to sit in a daze, and even preferred to sleep in the office rather than go home. And all this is to be able to avoid Lin Xiaofeng. On this day, Lao Song found that the peach blossoms he had not contacted for a long time had sent him another message. Lin Xiaofeng told her experience on the internet, denouncing her husband's betrayal and ruthlessness. Lin Xiaofeng said, due to the current situation at home, he cannot leave for a while, but I felt that his heart had long left this home and left me. He would rather wander around idly outside alone than go home. I often think now how nice it would be if I hadn't known him at all. On the other side, Lu Dongbei is still chasing Juanzi, and even chased Juanzi's house. He said that as long as Juanzi can reconcile with him, he can divorce that woman immediately. But Juanzi was not tempted, because she had already seen through Lu Dongbei is a complete scumbag. Lu Dongbei had no choice but to ask Lao Song for help, hoping that Lao Song could say good things to himself. Song Jianping said, think about it from your perspective, think about it, if Juanzi is like you, how would you feel? Lu Dongbei said, that's very different. Song Jianping said, why is it different? Lu Dongbei said, I am a man. Song Jianping said, then you are wrong, on this issue, men and women feel the same. Lu Dongbei always believes that for men, messing with flowers and grass is a trivial matter, which is not called making a mistake at all. At this moment, Song Jianping suddenly discovered that the peach blossoms were blooming and sent another message, and this time the content turned out to be that she took the initiative to ask to meet. Song Jianping said, she took the initiative to say that she would meet. She was crazy and too bold. Lin Xiaofeng told her recent experience on the internet. Her husband not only cheated, but also divorced her. She hoped to be comforted by the soldiers coming to the city. But Song Jianping was full of anger and said, I am wrong for cheating every day, but you yourself secretly ask male netizens to meet. Since you are unkind, I am not righteous. So Song Jianping immediately agreed to her request to meet. At this time, Lin Xiaofeng was completely unaware of all this. Song Jianping asked her to meet at the beach, and said that he would recognize him at a glance. Song Jianping said, I agree to meet you. See what you say about me. At this moment, Song Jianping received a call about an emergency operation. He needs to rush over immediately. So he could only give Lu Dongbei the task of chatting with Lin Xiaofeng. But he never expected that it was this move that almost put him in a catastrophe. Lin Xiaofeng said, "Please don't think I'm a frivolous woman. If it weren't for the scene I witnessed with my own eyes," but Lin Xiaofeng's words aroused Lu Dongdong's curiosity. So he hurriedly asked her what she saw, but he didn't expect Lin Xiaofeng's answer to shock him. Peach blossoms are in full bloom. The woman slowly turned around, but her originally expectant gaze instantly turned into extreme shock. She never thought that the online dating partner she was dating would be her husband. Shock, shame, and anger instantly surged into Lin Xiaofeng's heart. After arriving home, Song Jianping recited his chat records with the soldiers under the city word by word in front of Lin Xiaofeng. Song Jianping said, "You said that your marriage is also very unfortunate, and I hope that my existence can bring you some light and hope, just like you gave me." Song Jian was expressionless, and the suspicion and repression he had suffered in the past seemed to have the pleasure of revenge at this moment. Song Jianping said, "You promised to meet me, and I have been preparing for this day. I hope to meet after, is it you?" But every word he read, it is tantamount to completely stripping Lin Xiaofeng and putting her naked in public. This made Lin Xiaofeng extremely embarrassed and angry. Lin Xiaofeng completely collapsed. At this time, she didn't even have the last bit of self-esteem. She suspected that Song Jianping was cheating, but she had not found substantial evidence. However, she and the male netizen were arrested by her husband. This made her ashamed and hated what her husband had done. She couldn't believe that her husband would design a routine for herself like this. She hysterically vented her anger and smashed everything she could at home. The only remaining little dignity between husband and wife is completely zeroed at this moment. At this time, the son came out to check the situation. He looked at his parents at a loss, and everything in front of him made him feel scared and strange. But at the same time, he also had a knife in his hand. Dang Dang said, "Mom." Lin Xiaofeng turned around, and his crazy expression frightened his son. But then Lin Xiaofeng found that his son actually took a knife and began to cut his arm one by one. The two of them were silent in the hospital. "I don't know what I'm thinking." At this time, all the family members who received the notice rushed over. They don't understand what a child goes through to self-harm. Xiaofeng's mother said, "What happened just now? What about just now? What about Dang Dang? Dang Dang, Dang Dang, Dang Dang, Dang Dang, Dang Dang. I'll see, I'll see." Xiaofeng's mother said, "Why are you doing this?" Dang Dang said, "In order not to let them fight." Xiaofeng's mother said, "Then you don't need to be like this." Dang Dang said, "Last time, when they saw me wrestling, they stopped fighting." The child's words made Lin Xiaofeng completely collapse. Lin Xiaofeng said, "Dang Dang, Mom is sorry for you." "Ha ha ha, Mom, I'm sorry for you." In order to save his home, the little boy did not hesitate to hurt himself. But he still didn't understand that the family was already shattered. Xiaofeng's mother was very angry. She felt that she had been upright all her life and taught her children well. But I didn't expect Lin Xiaofeng to be unable to handle his feelings well and take care of his children. She didn't expect her daughter to be so extreme. Xiaofeng's mother said, I don't hit men. Xiaofeng, I hurt you in vain, you really can't do it." "I think it's mine." The old lady was furious and fainted directly. Lin Xiaofeng said, "Mom. Yujia Mom. Mom, what's wrong with you? Yujia Mom." But after this incident, Lin Xiaofeng did not give up. At this point, she wants to do whatever it takes to make Song Jianping pay. So she came to the hospital alone, but Lao Song knew nothing about this. When he came to the office and found Lin Xiaofeng with an expressionless face, Lao Song knew that something was wrong. Lin Xiaofeng's eyes were full of murderous intent. "I'm afraid that today's things will not be good." Song Jianping said, "Please let this person out, she will affect my work." The security guard said, "Hello, why don't you go out first and don't hinder our work, okay?" Lin Xiaofeng said, I'm the wife of your vice president Song Jianping. Song Jianping said, what are you going to do? Lin Xiaofeng said, Song Jianping, why did I know you in the first place? Song Jianping said, you go out first. Lao Song loves face, and he doesn't want his subordinates to see his unbearable side. But just as everyone was about to leave, Lin Xiaofeng called them back. She was going to tear Lao Song apart in front of everyone. These people are also obedient, and they didn't leave. He also dared to eat the melons of his immediate boss in person. Lin Xiaofeng said, you are bullying people too much. You can have no feelings for me, you can leave this family and your son to pursue your happy life. But the premise is that we must make all this clear. In front of your colleagues, make it clear in front of the big guys. Look at a vice president, a man, a father, a husband, can be like this, so despicable. Can it be like this, so irresponsible? In Lin Xiaofeng's view, he gave everything for the family, even quit his job, and took care of all the big and small things in the family. But Song Jianping ignored the relationship between husband and wife, because he cheated on another woman and wanted to abandon himself. Abandon this home. All these results of his own business were picked up by other women. She was unwilling. Lin Xiaofeng said, I want to hear from you today, let you tell the big guy, what good things have you done? What have you done for me and this family? You are a hypocrite, you are a sanctimonious person. You are in the hospital and still your vice president, what are you? Song Jianping said, is it over? Faced with Lin Xiaofeng's hysteria, Song Jianping was completely tired. He didn't even refute and wanted to leave. But Lin Xiaofeng was instantly anxious, she would not just let Lao Song go. Lin Xiaofeng said, Song Jianping. Seeing that Lao Song was leaving, Lin Xiaofeng was completely crazy. She smashed the office window. She decided to take a desperate gamble, preferring to die herself rather than make Song Jianping suffer for the rest of her life. Looking at Lin Xiaofeng standing in front of the window, Song Jianping was frightened and dumbfounded. He knew that according to Lin Xiaofeng's character, she would really jump down. At that time, the son will never forgive himself for the rest of his life. Lao Song regarded himself as noble all his life and valued reputation more than anything else. But at this moment, Song Jianping was completely desperate. He knelt down in front of Lin Xiaofeng in front of everyone and all his subordinates. And Lin Xiaofeng slowly turned his head and looked at Song Jianping kneeling at his feet. Only then did her goal finally be achieved. Song Jianping's dignity was trampled under his feet and his reputation was ruined. On the other side, Xiaofeng's mother couldn't afford to get sick because of this incident. She knew that her time was running out, and before she died, she told Xiaofeng's father to keep the biggest secret. It didn't take long for Xiaofeng's mother to swallow her breath. But the most painful thing at this time is not Lin Xiaofeng, it's Xiaofeng's father. The old couple lived in harmony all their lives, not because of how great love was, nor because Xiaofeng's father never made a mistake. Xiaofeng's mother is rational and sober and doesn't mess around, and Xiaofeng's father is gentle and considerate and will hurt people. They are more considerate and understanding of each other in their daily lives. After the funeral, Xiaofeng's father still told the secret that had been buried in his heart for many years. Xiaofeng's father said, it turns out that he had cheated when he was delegated. Lin Xiaofeng said, does mom know about this? Xiaofeng's father said, your mother tolerated me and tolerated that girl. They are still in touch. Lin Xiaofeng said, who is that girl? Xiaofeng's father said, it's your deceased aunt. I also have a child with her. Lin Xiaofeng said, who is that child? Lin Xiaofeng instantly felt like he was struck by lightning. I was born to my father's cheating. But what made her even more incomprehensible was that her mother not only forgave her cheating father, but also raised her herself. Until this moment, the belief in Lin Xiaofeng's heart completely collapsed. Lu Dongbei said, "Do you like Juanzi?" The man was instantly confused. But before he could react, Fa Xiao in front of him was already furious. Lu Dongbei said, "Then you should always know that your friend's wife cannot be bullied, right?" Song Jianping said, "Of course I know." Lu Dongbei said, "Do you know that you are still doing this?" Until Lu Dongbei exploded his head, Song Jianping didn't know what happened. It turned out that not long ago, when Lu Dongbei was chatting with the peach blossoms, he accidentally discovered a big secret and said, "My hair is small, my good big brother." He actually got involved with his ex-wife. Lu Dongbei couldn't believe it, so he found Juanzi and wanted to ask for clarification. Although Lu Dongbei has remarried and is a married man, he still wants to reconcile with Juanzi. But Juanzi's cold attitude towards herself and the information he saw, which convinced him that Juanzi had another man. Lu Dongbei said, "Tell me, who is he?" Juanzi said, "Does it have anything to do with you?" Lu Dongbei said, "Is it Song Jianping?" Juanzi said, "So what?" Lu Dongbei said, "He is a married man." Juanzi said, "You too." Juanzi left angrily. She had already seen through Lu Dongbei. He is a complete scumbag. On the other side, Song Jianping was lying on the hospital bed, and only Juanzi was willing to take care of him. Song Jianping said, "In the past 2 days, I don't know how to do it, and I especially miss Lin Xiaofeng. Too much has really happened recently, which makes Song Jianping physically and mentally exhausted. These days, he uncharacteristically thinks of Lin Xiaofeng and misses the bits and pieces of the two of them. The two of them were also very sweet and affectionate. But now it has come to this point. Just when Lao Song was nostalgic for the past, Lin Xiaofeng happened to come to the hospital. When she walked to the door of the ward, she happened to hear Lao Song's inner monologue. Song Jianping said, "I don't know why Xiaofeng is like this now. I know it's my fault, but he's been trying hard to save the marriage. But I can't do it anymore. I want to ask you. Do you still love me?" Lin Xiaofeng said, "At this age, what else do you love or not? Live your life." Song Jianping said, "So you don't love it, right?" Song Jianping said, "Do you love me or not?" Lin Xiaofeng said, "Let me tell you, I hate you." Hate. Get it? If you talk about Lin Xiaofeng's sentence at the beginning, "I hate you," made Song Jianping feel cold, so when Lin Xiaofeng said the 3 words, "I hate him," it made Song Jianping completely dead. Song Jianping said, "After thinking about it, I don't know what's wrong with Xiaofeng. But it just doesn't work. I was also trying to restrain myself and try not to make her angry, but she still misunderstood me." So, I have no illusions about this marriage. Juanzi looked at the scarred men in front of her and couldn't help but feel pity. Compared with Lu Dongdong, Song Jianping is really much better. And Lin Xiaofeng listened to Lao Song's words outside the house, and couldn't help but burst into tears. The two people who were once in love have come to this point. Is there really a winner? At this time, Juanzi asked Lao Song if he wanted to go to Tibet. But Lao Song still resolutely said, he still wants to go to Tibet. At this time, Juanzi finally expressed her feelings. Juanzi said, "I'll go with you." Juanzi's words confused Lao Song, and even Lin Xiaofeng outside the house stared at his big eyes like bronze bells. Finally, let yourself find evidence. However, in the face of the confession of the beautiful subordinate, Lao Song smiled indifferently. Because he never had any ill thoughts about Juanzi, in his eyes. Juanzi, like Lu Dongdong, is still just a child. He told Juanzi in the tone of an elder that he must find a man who is responsible for him in the future. And it wasn't until this moment that Lin Xiaofeng finally understood that he was wrong, and he was outrageously wrong. It is because of this mistake that ruined his marriage and ruined his home. However, things have come to this point, and everything is irreversible. Song Jianping said, "Do you know? After thinking about it, who do I care about the most? It's still Lin Xiaofeng." Although Song Jianping and Lin Xiaofeng still care about each other in their hearts, but at the same time, they all understood that their marriage had come to an end. When Juanzi left the ward, she met Lu Dongbei waiting outside. Looking at her former ex-husband at this moment, Juanzi has no feelings for him at all. She slowly walked towards Lu Dongbei and looked at the men who had once haunted her. The sweet love and shameless betrayal of the past are already a thing of the past. A fierce slap also means that the relationship between the two is completely over from now on. In the evening, Xiaoli came to visit Lao Song. As a former colleague and neighbor for many years, she came to say goodbye to Lao Song before Lao Song was about to leave for Tibet. And during this time, the conflict between himself and his wife has also brought a lot of trouble to Xiaoli. Lao Song sincerely apologized to Xiaoli and shook hands. On the other side, Lin Xiaofeng sat alone on the beach all night. She thought a lot. He regretted his previous actions. After a long time, she dialed Lao Song's phone. Lin Xiaofeng said, "Hey, I want to talk to you." Song Jianping said, "Say it on the phone." Lin Xiaofeng said, "I want to interview." But Lao Song was on his way to the hotel at the moment, because he was about to leave for Tibet tomorrow. The unit held a party to see him off. And Lao Song believes that there is no need to talk about the two of them now. At the party, Song Jianping did not tell the original cliché, but told his experience. He has lived in the city since he was a child. Born here, go to school here, work here, fall in love, marry, and have children here. But now, he is about to leave the city where he has lived for decades, and he is still a little reluctant. It's really a little reluctant. Although it left me with a lot of unhappiness and even pain, I was still reluctant to do so. Just when Song Jianping was speaking freely, he was horrified to find that his wife Lin Xiaofeng was standing at the door of the venue at some point. The whole venue was instantly silent because the last time the hospital jumped off the building, it can be said that everyone knows. And Song Jianping also felt a chill down his spine. But he still thanked Lin Xiaofeng in front of all his colleagues. Song Jianping said, "Thank you to my wife Lin Xiaofeng. Without her, I wouldn't be where I am today." People usually say that trees move dead, people move alive, and I hope this sentence is correct. Remember, I will miss you. But just when the hospital owner was about to speak, Lin Xiaofeng suddenly spoke. Lin Xiaofeng said, "Can I say a few words?" The banquet venue instantly lost sound. No one knows what this woman wants to do. Seeing that the cold scene was over, the boss took the lead in applauding. Lin Xiaofeng, on the other hand, walked to the podium. She told everyone present, telling everyone that love is like sand, and the tighter you hold it, the faster the sand flows. She warned everyone to respect each other and maintain tolerance and understanding. And these are all summarized by her own failed marriage. Yesterday was the 10th wedding anniversary of her and Song Jianping, but both of them forgot about this day. One was clamoring to jump off the building in the hospital. One knelt down to his wife in public. They have long forgotten what their relationship was like. Lin Xiaofeng said, "When I saw Song Jianping stranded on the street and unwilling to go home, I realized that we were too far from the original intention of marriage." You stay, I agree. At this point, Lin Xiaofeng finally decided to let Song Jianping go, and let himself go. After that, the two returned to their former home, which had been smashed to a dilapidated state, and had been cleaned up at this time. But the warmth of the past is no longer there. Lin Xiaofeng said, "Song Jianping, how long has it been since you kissed me?" Song Jianping slowly walked to Lin Xiaofeng. "I don't know how long it has been, and the two have never stood together so calmly." The two looked at each other and kissed each other deeply. It also means that the marriage between the two has come to an end.